All right. It is 9:05 a.m. on Tuesday morning, February 28th, and I'd like to call the regular council meeting of February 28th, 2023 to order. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. If you're attending online, could you please identify yourself via the chat room to administration here? The other part is for staff, administration, and council, please minimize the use of your cell phones during the meeting. Uh, the meeting will be recorded, so bear that in mind and in making your comments and stuff. And I believe we have 2 people of the public attending online and 1 media person. I don't see her on yet.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. So we will move on to item number 2 of the adoption of the agenda for February 28th. And we'll start with Councillor Naka. Any additions?
I have one item in the closed session, a legal matter.
So that'd be 8.3.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
8.2.
8.3. Councillor Wawa, any additions?
No.
Councillor Wick?
No.
Councillor Waiters?
In the closed session also, aligned and,
Do you have a legal description or anything, or just the land in general?
it's, deal with the alignment.
Okay. And you said you had 2?
Yeah, and then, CA home policy.
Okay, I have one. I'd probably like to put it under 8.4 and 8.5 now.
That CEO one is not the new camera.
Okay, so just let me get, so you want that to be as part of the business portion, so we will go that one with 5.6. Okay, I have one that I'd like to add. It's can go under 5.7. And it's land, and it's regarding the Northwest 2756, sorry, Northwest 275716. 5.7. And I would probably like Mr. Mishniak and Mr. Elenyik to be present for that particular topic. 5716. I think. I might be off. Anyway, I'll know which one it is. Neil, he said it.
I got one more, vertical pits.
5.8.
Sorry, what's the name?
Burnco. Burnco.
Arnco.
And administration.
No additions.
No. All right. If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Roy,
I move that Lamont County Council adopt the February 28th, 2023 regular council meeting agenda as amended.
any questions or concerns?
Are
Debate?
the microphones on?
Yep.
People said they can't hear us.
Check.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
It's carried 5-0. And the minutes of the February 14th, 2023 regular council meeting. Everybody's had a chance to go through them. Any errors or omissions? Seeing no one coming forward, can I have some make a motion to, are you making a motion, Dan, or you got a
Yes,
correction?
yes,
All right, thank you.
that Lamont County Council adopt the February 14th, 2023 regular council minutes, meeting minutes as presented.
Questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's carried 5-0. Okay, we'll move on to item 4.1 on the agenda, the Lafarge drainage.
Mr. Reeve, while Mr. Dietz and Mr. Mishignac assumed the position at the presenters table, this was an item approved in the capital budget to study, subsequently to undertake design, and finally in subsequent years to undertake construction of a remediation to a flooding issue near the Lafarge pit.
Yep.
Thanks.
Good morning. So we're here this morning to ask council to make a decision on how to proceed with the Lafarge drainage. In 2021, council had directed staff to look into drainage improvements within the Lafarge drainage lands. In 2022, administration had procured the services of an engineering firm to identify areas of concerns resulting from work that the county did on the lands. And as a result of that work, it was brought up by Alberta Environment that we needed approvals to proceed any further. So in the attached report, which was submitted to the county at the end of 2022, there's two options, option A and option B. Option A would be a channel designed to meet a 1 in 100 year storm event, culvert crossings to meet a 1 in 25 year event, with surcharges able to meet a 1 in 100 year storm event. Option B would be a channel designed to meet a 1 in 5 year event, culvert crossings to meet a 1 in 5 year event as well, with surcharges able to meet a 1 in 20 year event. While the engineering and wetland compensation costs will not significantly change between these two designs, construction costs will be significantly different. Option A reflects a total projected cost of just over 1 million of that 654,000 for construction, whereas option B has a total projected cost of 672,000. Of that, the construction cost will be $339,000. The 2023 approved budget includes $100,000 for the engineering design work in 2023. With the completion of the project would be undertaken in 2024, subject to council approval.
Okay. Council have any comments or concerns regarding the proposal?
Well, this is out of this world. $1 million to be spending cleaning a drainage.
I thought we had to clean the drainage to the northwest, take that road that they put in there a long time ago and block the water from going straight northeast. I can't see it being $1 million. I don't understand what you guys are doing here.
We've cut services.
What are we doing for $1 million?
Yeah.
$1 million would be the option A plan. If you look at the figure 6, the option A channel profile.
Yeah.
This would be reprofiling the whole channel to be able to handle the larger flood events.
So that'd be making a new drainage all the way to the northeast where the water never went 35 years ago, eh?
From all of our investigations, the water has gone that way. There's a number of historic areas added. Dating back to
Actually, the report that's been presented with the package here clearly indicates what work has to be done here and stuff. And they're not creating the channel to the northeast, they're creating the channel to the northwest, the way the original water flows. So if you look at a county map, the county map where there's that blue line, that's where they want to redefine the channel for this water to go. It's not to go to the northeast.
There's a summary of the costs on page 71 and 72, kind of itemized. It just gives you line items for the different categories that they spent. My question is, has a reclamation permit been issued on this property?
I'm not aware of whether a permit has been issued for that or not.
And my question is, so Alberta Environment issued the permits for a Class 1 pit over the years, historically. I imagine as they increased the footprint there must have been more approvals. There's got to be a code of practice. So, and there is a letter from Lafarge's lawyer that acknowledges that the water has been redirected to the east, but Alberta Environment is okay with it going in the opposite direction and don't feel it should be corrected to original because it's been that way for decades and it would upset landowners. So I just find it hard to believe that Alberta Environment and Lafarge, everyone else had permits and approvals, went through all the steps, and then we're left with a $1 million correction.
looking through the footprint of the air photos, there sloughed in throughout time is what we found. Numerous vegetation filled in, real left behind, flowing through the drainage channels has blocked up this drainage course. The amount of vegetation that's been allowed to grow off of it has also exacerbated that. What's happened is the drainage course no longer flows, and when it over pushes the water.
Okay, because if you look at some of these aerial photos, trying to pick off a page number here.
Historic ones?
The historic ones, yeah. So if you look at the historic aerial photos, you notice the trees that are there. I'm looking at the one on the second to last page here, and you see the defined path that the water is going. That's definitely identified by a blue line there. And it flows to the northwest, which is the intended direction for it to flow. Now, I mean, my apologies, but that gray area that's just to the northeast of the tributary there, what would that represent? Is that a excavation?
No, the round part.
The round
Just
part.
right below.
This part here, Ken.
From my field investigations, I can't tell whether that was a mining area. It is a flat area of pasture right now.
Which page is that?
What page you guys on?
Yeah.
Figure
50.
2006 aerial photo.
Yeah, or even 107.
Figure 107, 91 aerial photograph?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this here is what you're looking at?
Which?
This
And-
right here.
That was an oil lease, 'cause there's a pipeline, that was an oil lease, wasn't it, Dan?
Yeah, there was an.
That's an oil lease.
Yeah,
If you look back to figure 101, the aerial photo from 1949, that area hasn't significantly changed since that time, and that was before the gravel operations commenced in the north portion of the property.
So what year would these aerial photos be? 1992? 1992, sorry, I found it here. So that gravel pit was in existence in 1992.
It was there in the 80s.
oh, it was in the eighties.
80s.
1977. It's
We all got there in 1976. We were hauling to the cement plant here in town.
See it back all the way to 1964.
Has anybody been in there physically, or is it just with LiDAR and whatever else?
Both me and the engineer have walked it, and they also conducted field surveys in conjunction with the LiDAR, so they had survey crews walking through it.
So like on figure 5, just page, I don't know what page that'd be. So the repair is from the Range Road to about 3/4 of a mile. And that's $1 million.
Correct, yes.
There's no culverts, nothing, and it's $1 million.
That would include the road crossing culverts as well as rebuilding the crossing at station 0+200.
What road crossing you gotta put a culvert in?
Yeah.
You put a culvert to give it more water,
That would increase the water flow to the area as
but
well.
we got too much water already, so that kind of holds it, so it's got time to disperse. So why would you want to change that? No, you got too much water coming already, so you're gonna give it double the water, so we got one on 562 before 194. That if you put a bigger culvert, it's gonna flood all the way north to the river, so that holds it back by Star and it has time to.
With the increased channel design, it would be able to handle the capacity from those culverts.
What's the price of that culvert? So if we took the culvert out, how much?
Page 71, Neil, the culverts are broken down.
71 on the,
Summary in the package in your binder.
So
That would be approximately $45,500 for the installation of those culverts, and approximately $600 for the removal of the existing culvert. So just shy of $50,000.
So if you read the report that was prepared by S&E Design here, essentially they're indicating that a good part of the issues with this drainage channel or tributary is undergrowth, deadfall, sloughing, cattle walking through there and stuff. what if we just went in there with, because we need Alberta environment approval here, so we really can't touch any dirt removal or else we're gonna be into, paying Alberta environment for wetland restoration. But we just went through there with a mulcher and cleaned the channel up that way where you'd have minimal disturbance of the landscape, I guess. Left the culverts the same size, except there's maybe one, from my understanding, reading the material, there's one physically on the piece of land that has to be upgraded, if I'm not mistaken. Would that eliminate our flooding issues to a certain degree? If we're in a 1 in 5 situation, obviously if it's a 1 in 25 or a 1 in 100, it's probably not gonna do that, but it may suffice in a 1 in 5 or whatever here, right?
The option 2 is the 1 in 5. What would suffice in a 1 in 5?
Okay, but I'm saying,
Uh,
okay, let's put an option C on the board.
An option C would be, we would still see extensive flooding to the northeast and overflow into the drainage courses to the northeast. There's multiple blockages along the way that would require earthworks to remove.
Would environment let us go mulch that drainage path out?
I'd have to consult with Alberta Environment.
Because they got steep banks in there. You said you walked up, how steep are the
There's no
banks?
steep banks. There is none.
So the mulcher would be able to go through it. Oh,
So if we're not touching the wetland itself, the creek, we, assuming we can get the landowner permission to go in and brush, the only thing we would have to abide by is the Nesting Birds Act. As long as we're not touching a wetland, we can remove trees. We can remove fallen trees from the creek as long as we're not disturbing the bed.
With or without Alberta environment approval?
Without Alberta environment approval. So if a tree falls on a creek, you can go in and remove it. If there's a beaver dam, you can remove it without approvals. If you are trying to do any re-ditching or reclaiming the creek bed, that's when you would need Alberta environment approval. Once you touch the bed or shore, Alberta environment gets involved.
What are the costs to mulch 3/4 of a mile? I'm guessing it's 3/4 of a mile long. It's probably half a mile.
Is Terry online? No.
This would
He
be
is.
1.2
He is.
kilometers. So yeah, we'd be just, about 3/4 of a mile.
What are the costs to run the mulcher through there? Two mulchers wide or whatever.
Terry, could you give us an estimate of what it would cost?
Your worship, I'm not sure exactly how heavy the vegetation is, but you'll be looking at, excuse me, roughly about 2 1/4 an hour. So 3/4 of a mile. I would probably say you'd probably be looking in the neighborhood of around 12 to 15 grand.
So under 20,
So,
probably under 20,000 then, Terry, right?
so Terry, weren't we in there with the mulcher a few years back? Or was it just the track hole?
Your worship to.
And part of the way from
We
5,
were in there. We were in there with
580.
the track hole and a couple mulchers.
We can't hear you, Terry.
Sorry. We were in there with the track hole, and we're also in there with a couple mulchers to do some contouring.
Is that what resulted in the warning letter from Alberta Environment?
Yeah.
I think so.
We can mulch it though, Terry, now, right? If we wanted to, we could go there and mulch the channel.
We currently are working on water courses as we speak. as Darby has mentioned, as long as we're not doing any damage to the bed and shore, we're okay.
And migratory birds means we'd have to be in and out of there before May?
So then the Nesting Birds Act, we'd have to be out before April 15th.
We'd want to do it on the frost now.
You want to do it now?
I suggest, I would put a suggestion out there, just, to mulch it and then at least we'll know what we got, and we can go through with the all-terrain vehicle later and see what we got. If you mulch it, maybe some of the water will go, alleviate some of the problem. And then at least we know what we got. 20 grand, take it out of aggregate funds. It's damage left by a gravel pit, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've been around long enough, Ken, but historically on 584 where those two culverts are, what size would those be? 600s?
Those are 600s.
Yeah, there's always an issue of flooding there. Water's always going over the road there, right? Or
I know we've seen it last spring, that water flowed.
because one year we had one culvert plugged off in 162, which
And we have since opened up all the culverts on 162 as best we could with the condition that they're currently in.
okay, so historically, where those two 600s are on 584, they're undersized in a normal season, never mind having a flood event or whatever.
Correct. It would be two 800s just to meet the 1 in 5 year flow rates.
And then, of course, to put bigger culverts, the road is too low, right?
Correct. We would have to conduct a road raise over top the installation there as well.
Okay. So, where does council want to go on this thing?
I think a good place to start would be to have LC Design meet with council and give an explanation, a more detailed explanation. And it would be good to have someone from Alberta Environment that is aware of some of the history. You know, I've asked for years for that letter saying that an Alberta Environment is okay with the water going in the wrong direction, came from Lafarge's lawyer. He says that's Alberta Environment. I've always asked for the letter from Alberta Environment to Lafarge's lawyer saying that that's okay. But that's never happened. This is 12 years in the making.
I know when Steve Engman and myself met with Alberta Environment, they did discuss that as this has been going on so long, that they would want a wetland assessment of the overflow areas to see how that would affect the wetlands that have formed to the northeast of this and to the east.
And they didn't request a document when they agreed with approving the codes of practice over the years, you know. That's why I think that would be a good conversation where the county, the engineer, and Alberta Environment are everybody's at a meeting with some documentation.
Actually, Alberta Environment did do an assessment not that long ago.
Yeah, I think they do.
There was
It's probably a year.
and about a year or 14 months ago, Alberta Environment was out in this area and they did do an assessment.
Off that area?
Fall of 21, I think.
Yeah.
They did do an initial field assessment involving to see both the work that the county had previously done and what would be the impact of the other drainage courses in the area. They did acknowledge that if we fix this, it would heavily impact other drainage or the wetlands and drainage courses to the northeast.
It would affect?
Yeah. Due to the amount of time that this has been in place, a large amount of wetlands have formed to the northeast that this has helped feed into, and there would be obviously effects to those wetlands now.
So how is that the county or the landowner's problem? You know, that's my question.
the province owns water. Or they like to tell us they own water. Okay,
I'd be concerned that if we involve the province too directly, that we might be buying ourselves a million, 600,000, rather than simply addressing what was being discussed, namely doing some mulching. We may lose the opportunity lesser work if we
At the beginning of that, there's that one road crossing you had in there, and they used to haul the gravel across as a little culvert. Then we mulched it and changed that one culvert. Not on the road, but on that east road kind of,
If we,
Is that from those Golden Gates?
pardon me.
Is that from the Golden Gates?
Yeah, when you cut across to the
Yeah.
north.
Yeah, it's only a 12-inch culvert there.
Yeah, so we mulched it and changed that culvert, maybe it'd get rid of half the water for us till we come up with a plan or what.
Yeah,
Well-
so we do have a 16-inch culvert in that location. We could replace that under the code of practice for culvert installations without environmental approval.
well, I think
You have
I'll,
to build the road up right there too, because it's very low there.
Yeah. So as long as we're not going outside of the existing road, so we may end up having to narrow the road a little bit. If we're not going outside of it, then there should be no concerns with replacing that with a larger culvert.
All that it ever was done is just to cross from one side, you come through those Golden Gates into the main part.
I have a question for you guys, because Google Earth doesn't show anything different here. You guys said you guys did this mulching. So photo 24 and 25 on page 66. That's, all that is pertaining to the, from where, if you look on your maps here, there's a little borrow pit. That's just pertaining from this borrow pit to the west to where that culvert is, right? That's all that the mulching has been done?
sorry, what page are you on, Aaron?
So if you, on page 68 and 67, you'll see how the mulch, they have a clear path, they have a pickup in the picture here. The mulching that you guys have done, now if you go to your aerial maps, there's a borrow pit. There's just a little slough borrow pit that's here. You guys-
You're talking where the dugout was.
Where the dugout is.
That's as far as I think, that's the area that the mulching was done. They couldn't go closer, they couldn't go southeast towards the highway because it was wet.
Okay.
All they did was that small area and they never went up to that road with the 16-inch culvert. I don't
Okay.
think we went that far.
Okay, cause it doesn't show, like the pictures there, doesn't show like an aerial. You can't, even on Google Maps, it doesn't show it, so it's, cause
How far in-
like I have,
From where that little crossing is?
is there still the videos and the stuff? Have you guys found any of that was taken with
I
the
haven't
Argo?
found none of the videos, no, unfortunately.
Cause we were in there, physically in there, and I'll put my name on it. I was there. And there is obstructions in that creek bed where you guys haven't even got to here. They're way over by the road, almost by where the edge of that, what you guys
184.
call a lease pit is and stuff. Right in here, right in this area here, where it's the closest spot. You can see where it's been diverted.
What page is that?
Go to your figure 108 for the 2000.
Right here.
Right? You can see where it's diverted. We were physically in there. There was pictures and stuff before. I know we had a previous CAO that was, or sorry, not CAO, Director of Public Works that had everything. There was actual mounds that were put in.
It resembled
bed.
resembled a berm or
It did.
something,
There was
and you could
berms.
drive on it with a side-by-side.
Yeah.
Pretty well.
We were on
Or-
it with
or
the Argo.
quad.
And there was,
When I walked it with Mr. Ingman, we did notice something like that. They're heavily overgrown and it was extremely wet when we were there at the
Yeah.
time. According to their surveys, the existing channel flowing to the west is still lower than that area east on the other side of those berms, so the natural channel would still be the best one.
seeing right there is where it changes. So I'm gonna say that there's a discrepancy in the way that they're doing their LiDAR or their measurements, because I physically walked on those and I know that they're 2 feet higher minimum than what the bottom of that creek is and that waterway is. And that water diverts from there into 2 separate paths that go around where you guys call this the lease site area. It diverts around that area right at this bend where it is here. And I think we've overstepped or overseen or missed that portion of it, and that's where it needs to be cleaned out, because that was a road allowance that somebody put in there. And when they got to the end of it, they diverted it from there. That was the whole reason for that little waterway, and that you can see where it's cleaned, plain as day in your 2000.
Yeah, we were there with an Argo when it was flooding.
In
And
your
there's
1991
merely a trickle going to that road with the 16-inch culvert, like 2 garden hoses. That's what's flowing to the northeast. And yet on the map, historically, there's a blue line. The blue line doesn't divert and go to the northeast. So I guess Alberta Environment has to pick. So you can't just cherry pick what time and what you're looking at. If that's the regulation, that's the regulation, eh?
This is on the corner. This is wide open here.
Yeah.
And another thing that surprises me about this organization is we can't find that stick with that video, you know?
It was presented to council. We watched it
Yeah.
in the meeting.
They
I mean,
mulched it and cleaned this. And see how this is in 1991 is the picture we have of it. You know, this is all cleaned out. Right here where they stopped. Right there. You can see that it's been diverted into that field right there. And there's literally where the road where they mulched and cleaned and did that on that creek bed is where the mounds are.
But there was water.
This flows here.
And it flows this way here too.
Yeah. And it comes in, they're supposed to meet here. But this has been coming from here for so long that this is pushing it this way and back around. So, sorry, I don't mean to not show you guys, but I just don't know how to show.
Well, you had the video. We watched it here in the
Yeah.
council chambers. So where would that?
Right here, okay.
I've been there for years and I don't know.
Okay, so when we went in, we followed, this is the 1991 where they did their preliminary work. You see how it's all cleared out and then everything else hasn't been touched. Where they stopped is right about here, and they turned their machinery, and there's 3 big blockages right there. And this is where it cuts in here, flows around this way, and this one here proceeds here. This water, when it is high enough, when this feels this high enough, flows back this way. So, but this area where they opened it up, there is video,
What page
there
is
was
that on?
pictures. I don't know what that page is there.
Gotta go to figure number. What? The bottom right corner, Dan, it has the numbers.
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking for that.
Right about,
Six. Yeah, this is 107.
see, and if you look, even these little bumps, those are where the equipment had been crossed. And that's what has pushed up the amount that is blocking that. And all it is a minuscule, like, literally, if this was my property, and I'm just saying if it was mine, you'd go in there with a hoe, open the center of it up, and it's done, because it's been already touched by man.
And that is kind of the 5-year timeline. It's just
Yeah, but $1 million for
No.
3/4 of a mile?
No, just, it would only be 5,000, 8,000, or
Yeah.
whatever you're talking to do it.
No. 600.
So, but if you went in with our own equipment and just opened and defined the bottom minimal disturbance, it wouldn't be.
So like mulch it and then, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Mulch it first so we know what we got.
And then you can see that the actual definition of it, and that, like Mr. Dietz said, we're allowed under the, Wildlife Act to do that. You don't have to go through Department of Fisheries and Oceans and Environment to be able to go. You have the Bed and Shore Act that we're allowed to follow.
So in discussions with Alberta Environment, they have not agreed to give any recommendations until we submit an application. If we were to go in and start removing any high points within the creek, we would need Alberta Environment approval. It may not require a Water Act approval, but it may require an application showing them that we're only removing high points that aren't natural. which will require an engineer design. We've got the survey, we need to show them that. So if council wants to look at an option C or an option D to go that route, then we'd have to go back to the drawing board of the environment and say, okay, this is, all we wanted is to just to remove the high points. We're not going to do any
Yeah.
regrading of the ditch, and just upgrade, replace the one downstream culvert with one or two more appropriately sized.
Yeah.
So that is an option. If council wants us to work on getting the brushing done this winter, as Mr. Londiga said, it's, up to $15,000 with internal resources. It requires no approvals. Now would be the time to get it done in anticipation of any future work.
But if you brush, at least we'll know what we got.
That's what I was just gonna
Yeah.
say.
Yeah,
I think
brush
if
it.
If you use, like you said, whatever, the clay levy fund or whatever we need to,
Aggregate.
at least or the aggregate, at least you define it and you can see it so that people can actually see it instead of just, you can see the pictures and you see all the vegetation, everything looks fine, but you don't actually see the definitions of it.
Yeah, maybe
And
we,
if somebody comes in, and I'm not saying, you get the opportunity to have an environment stop by once every 3-4 years. If they could drive by it and actually see, and you can see the instruction, maybe they'd say, all right. Cause they're not gonna go out and they're gonna try to use LiDAR, they're gonna use everything else to get their information. But it's not conclusive to the actual bottom of the grade.
And in the report, under the cost estimates, with option A, they had a clearing and mulching estimate of $125,000. Option B was approximately $100,000. So this would be stuff we could do for significantly less and potentially bring the cost down on the overall project.
Okay, just a reminder to everybody, like we'll just go and we'll brush and we don't need approval. Remember 2 years ago when we got the demo head on the track hole and the track hole was dropped off? And then the CEO got a phone call from environment not to enter the property. So we took the demo track hole away and here we are 2 years later having the same discussion.
But we have a different director of public works now that's gonna get an approval for us or put in an application for us.
yeah, but for brushing, we don't need an approval, do we?
Well,
I think you'd still have to.
I'm not sure why
Maybe we
we're,
notify.
I'm not sure why we're scared of being in touch with Alberta Environment.
No, and we anything we can do, we can ensure that,
I think we
We're in the
need,
right
we
way.
need those people on board
yeah.
because we don't want a warning letter coming back later on that
Those are
we
the most
screwed up or
important.
something.
Those are the most
Yeah.
important ones.
So if there is those berms and we need to remove them, like you say,
Yeah.
brush up to there, we're within our rights to do that. Once you expose this thing that they can see them.
Yeah.
And then we're in our $50,000 to $100,000 fix, not $1 million fix.
That's right.
So in order to bring this thing to a conclusion, obviously it's not council's desire to spend 6 million or 600,000 or $1 million here. But I think there seems to be consensus to take a mulcher in there and clean out that creek bed. And then if we do find these berms, which Councillor Wick is talking about, then we deal with Alberta Environment at that particular point in
that's
time.
Do you
Next step
think
for
our
next
small
fall.
mulcher will do it?
Oh, yeah,
Our mulchers should have no problem.
Okay.
we'll do that for sure.
I do have another question for you though. Who are we contacting to get access to this land?
I was contacted, the parks themselves.
Okay.
I'd have to look at the contact's name again.
Okay,
Who did
because
you-
that's,
Who did you talk
He
to?
doesn't know.
I'd have to look at this.
Okay.
Was that Mark? Was it Mark that was?
No, Brock.
Rock.
I believe, yeah, that's who I was talking to, was
Okay.
Brock Helm.
because
Yep.
we want to have their permission to be on their land also.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that just before we look for a motion, if you look at your culvert inlets on 584 there, Ken, they're both very compromised.
Yes.
So basically what we're doing there is we're taking a 600 culvert and reducing it down to about 150 culvert. Is there any way we can just replace those ends? Or does the whole culvert have to be
I'd
replaced?
have to go check to see how old they are, if they're metric. We could potentially just replace the end. I believe they're too short to just go and cut off portions of them.
Is that in 184
584.
584.
or 584?
Page 54 down.
Yeah,
and
no,
page
I know.
55.
Yeah, I know where it is. They're not very old culverts.
No, I don't think they are either, so I don't.
6-7 years.
Yeah, maybe if that. Yeah.
So it could be possible that we could, fix the inlets of those.
Because they lifted that road a little bit when they put,
Because if the damage is just to the exposed ends, it would just be a matter of, we could cut it off, put a bolt on the flared end. We could excavate to the first coupler and replace just the first section.
Okay. All right, so did I read council right? We're not prepared to go with option A or option B, but we are prepared to look at an option C, which is maybe get a mulcher in there and clean up the tributary.
I think that we should have a figure there before we go into there.
Sorry?
We should have a figure on the amount. Better than just.
The amount to mulch?
Huh?
Mulch.
The amount to mulch?
Yes,
Around 15,000.
Still 15, so we put 20.
well, like I said, I came over.
Well, I'm sure if you guys work with Terry, he can kind of give you a per hour.
Yeah.
Kind of estimate what it would be.
This would all be internal staff doing the work, so it would all be coming from our general operating funds anyways. So we wouldn't be looking for additional funds to hire a contractor for this work.
So, Mr. Reeve, I've got some suggested language that may work for you unless there's a counselor who has other language. You may want to add at a cost not to exceed 20,000 or not to exceed 15,000 if you'd like.
Start from the 584 side and work your way to the river.
Yeah. I
The
think you want-
blockage will be, because the blockage will be before the last third. The last third is probably steeper to the river already.
So after the word course, you want to say from township 580?
Or
Or
Wherever the bush starts after 584.
what do you do when you get?
Do you do when you get to the adjacent landowner on,
Well, but that's not where the issue is. If we.
well, I know, but you should take a look in the other property, how grown in that is too, eh?
On which side, Roy? On, closer to the river or?
Well,
Or south of the 584?
on 163, when you come where that fence line, there's supposedly an undeveloped road allowance where the Golden Gates are.
But that would.
Just do a visual check of what you're up against there, because it still has to go through an adjacent landowner's property.
So do you want to put it on the west line? Cool.
doesn't go through.
Cool. Didn't you buy with the cabin?
Along the fence and it
It goes down the hill there,
down
right?
the hill, straight to the river.
That's on, that adjacent landowner is.
Oh, it's still on this side.
It goes into the other border, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Unless the line on the map is wrong.
No, it does. It goes into that corner piece where that cabin is and
Yeah, it does
It goes-
just spill over into the other border. The southeast.
and then it follows the bottom of the hill all the way down right to the creek there.
Closer to the river, it's probably steep. We can't go there with equipment anyway.
No, it's,
And that is, it's, if you look at the grade lines and designs, you can see that they do show some of the grades going through. It is a lot more significant than grade at that.
It won't spill over the banks there anyway.
Essentially, everything downstream of the existing culvert on the private road is all flowing downhill. So there may be blockages.
It's right along the
Yeah.
fence.
So do you want to identify an eastern limit?
Okay, drainage course from township 584 through, what's the legal description of this particular corridor? Southwest 27?
It'd be the south half of 275816.
Goes through both.
The same one roads both sides, right?
Yeah, it also
Yep.
goes through the southeast 27, guys.
Yeah, so the south, if you say the south half of 27.
Right. And you can end it at the other property owner's property.
From there, it's steep and it won't go over the banks, right?
No. It's very well defined.
South half.
27, 58, 16. Okay, after 27, 58, 16, west of the fourth.
The last question was if you wanted to identify a maximum cost. At an amount not to exceed 20,000 is what I would suggest.
Now, does this include that culvert replacement
No, that's just the mulch.
on a private road?
Yeah.
You're not gonna do
So
that. for
if we're just
20,000.
talking with
This is just mulching.
just the mulching,
Mulching,
yeah.
okay.
I put a little higher limit on it.
Cost
20. What he did? Okay. Yeah, and it's gotta go to where it gets really steep.
Just a little.
Where it's steep, you gotta want the trees anyway, so it doesn't wash it out.
20,000. You guys okay with 20,000?
You gotta put where it's coming from. The levy fund.
I think this could probably cover off of operating. It can come
We
out
don't
of the
have this
highway.
budgeted, so what are we cannibalizing? Gravel, pothole?
Okay, we'll cannibalize the aggregate levy reserve.
Well, that's what it's for, fixing damages.
Maybe just put reserve after levy at Anna. Perfect. Council okay with that?
Yeah, I can make the motion.
Okay.
You guys good with the writing, Dan? Good with how it's written?
Yeah.
Everybody's good? Okay. Lamont County Council direct administration to undertake mulching along the drainage course from township 584 to south half of section 275816 west of the fourth to limit impacts on flooding near Lafarge Pit at a cost not to exceed $20,000 funded from the aggregate levy reserve.
Can I just make a friendly amendment to that, Neil, and after 584, instead of going to, go through?
Okay.
You okay with that?
And once you got it opened up, then we can see what we need to do. It might be something small environment might say do it.
I think it will be. As soon as you see it, it'll be there.
Okay, Councillor Whitus has made the motion. Any further questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0. Thank you, Ken and Darby. Good information. Okay, moving on to item 4.2, page 73 of the agenda. Look at that, we got through a third of the agenda. Procurement of motor graders in 2023 and 2024. I guess, Darby, you can continue. Peter, you want to lead in on this one?
Yeah, just the necessary background. Council approved the acquisition of one grader in 2023 and two in 2024. This was in part based on looking at the age of our graders and the desire to move towards a 7-year turnaround, and to equip ourselves for that, we've undertaken a a request for proposal in accordance with council's procurement policy, and today we're bringing the results and the recommendation. Go ahead, Darby.
So as Peter has said, we issued 2 tenders, one for the procurement of 1 grader for 2023 and one for the procurement of 2 in 2024. At the time the request for tender closed, we received 2 submissions for each tender, with 1 submission including 2 distinct proposals based on grader size. We reviewed the tenders based on the disclosed evaluation criteria, which comprised of cost 30%, quality of the service, dealer and facilities 10%, resale value, either buyback or trade-in at 10%, the progressive maintenance life costing at 10%, the warranty and guaranteed services at 10%, the user group feedback, the grader operators and supervisors at 20%, and delivery timeline of 10%. The bids were very competitive, with scoring ranging between 71 and 76. The review team consisted of Public Works, Operations Management, lead mechanic, and 2 grader operators. It should be noted that all graders proposed include a 7-year, 10,000-hour comprehensive warranty. Because the procurement rate is $75,000 per unit greater than budget, in order to purchase the equipment, a budget adjustment will be required.
How much difference in price was the other make to this one?
So of the 3 proposals, we had a John Deere 772 with a price of $675,000 with a delivery date of June 30th. We had a John Deere 872, $730,000 with a delivery date of September 15th, and a Cat 150M, or 150, sorry, $688,000 with a delivery date of 52 weeks from order. So we'd be looking at an additional $13,000 and 9 months.
The evaluation sheet is on page 76 of your agenda package.
As well, the prices for the 2024s are the same. Delivery dates for the 2 John Deere options are both January 1st, 2024. The Cat 150 is the same 52 weeks from date of order.
Probably a good idea to stick with having 2 makes, because as soon as you get all 1 make, then they got you.
We currently, should be also noted, we do have a 150 on order. Was supposed to be originally delivered in February. Delivery has been pushed back to July.
Okay, so we have a 772 GP and 872 GP. And then we have a 150, which is from Cat here. Is there a difference in horsepower?
So the 772 and the 150 are a very comparable machine. An 872 would be more equivalent to a 160. When you look at Alberta Road Builders, which is what we based our tender on, they compare an 872 to a 150 and a 160.
Doesn't the 150 have a guaranteed trade-in?
So the guaranteed, the 150 has a 5-year guaranteed buyback. They all were proposed with a 7-year guaranteed trade value.
So the two criteria that are really seeing the John Deere 772 rise to the top was the warranty and guaranteed service and the delivery timeline in particular, if you look at the numbers.
I'll do two John Deeres and 1 Cat just to keep the fleet, so it's not all 1 make.
Maybe if you had all 1 make, the competitor would be a little more price conscientious the next bid that he submitted.
I do know of one municipality that went that route. They ended up purchasing 11 graders, all one make, and all had the same issues at the same time. Ended up having the servicemen basically work out of their shop for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's, so you,
Depending on what you're buying, it could be great, it could be horrible.
Sweet.
We have got a mix of fleet. We've got 150s, we've got a 160, we've got a 772, we've got 872s. They're all capable of doing what we need them to do. Having the extra horsepower, our extra horsepower is nice in the winter, but at the same time, it's a very big expense.
so just for council's information, if you look on page 94, there's a inventory listing of our existing graders. So if I hear you correctly, Darby, you would prefer to have a mixed fleet.
Yeah, I mean, both graders are good. We have issues with John Deere's, we have issues with Cats. We've got issues with other, different trucks. There's not one that's better than the other in any certain, overall in every category. But I can't say that I would always buy one over the other. They're both capable.
And we have 5 machines right now that are running under a warranty. Or 4, and potentially a 5th. 1, 2, 3. No, 5 and potentially a 6th one at the end of this year, running with 0 warranty.
So yeah, right now we have 5 that are out of warranty. We have 1 on order. We're looking to order another one for this year. So by the end of this year, the goal is to have 3 out of warranty. And as we're going to discuss here later about extending warranties as well on existing fleet. So potentially this time next year, we could have only 1 machine out of warranty.
Mhm.
So just for clarity here then, the John Deere's versus the Cat,
So the 772 would be equivalent in horsepower and weight to a 150.
and your price difference is $13,000.
Yes.
Half the price of a snowmobile.
And your delivery date really doesn't matter because these are being ordered for 2024, so.
1 would be ordered for 23 and 2 would be ordered for 24.
Right, so we could order the Cat for 24 and it would still arrive in 2024,
Yes.
52 weeks down the road here.
Yes. So we could potentially have that one in March of 24 and a John Deere would be in January of 24.
I mean, if you prefer to keep a mixed fleet, $13,000 isn't a big.
I think we're better having a mixed fleet. You get, they stay on their toes more, coming for service and stuff too. You get all one make, they're not gonna give you the service.
I like Darby's explanation where if you got a defect where the transmission's no good, yeah,
They're all no good.
then they're all no good, right?
I don't know if they fixed that seal issue between the motor and transmission. Have they fixed that issue yet or not on a John Deere? I'm not sure.
Which,
There's a seal that goes between,
how many years ago did it come up?
sorry?
How many years ago did that come up?
3 years.
Yeah, the 3rd year. I think we got one sitting in the shop waiting to get fixed, don't we?
Yes, I believe that's one of the ones that we'd be looking to replace this year.
Yeah. So that John Deere's got an issue already on that, so that's why I think we should. I'd go with one. I'd go with one John Deere, and then the next year John Deere and a Cat.
Yeah, I'm good with that. 1 John Deere and a John Deere and a Cat.
For next year.
Well, we got a number of motions we have to deal with in this matter here. If you refer to page 73, I think the first thing we have to do is we have to increase the capital budget because I think as part of the capital budget, we had allowed $600,000 for the purchase of a grader.
Yeah.
and now coming back at 675,000. So one motion we're gonna need is to provide an additional $75,000, and that's to buy the grader that's supposedly arriving in 2023. That's been
Yes.
pushed back till June now, you said?
No, so
Or
that would be to purchase a additional machine for 2023.
in addition to the one that we're getting.
There is one already on order.
Already.
Council's already passed that motion in 2022.
And that one, the price,
Yeah.
what, we had enough for the price in that one, right?
Yes, that one is
Yeah.
the price on that one hasn't changed.
So the price is when you place the order? That's
Yes.
what they honor it with
So
the
when
US
when
dollar?
we place the order, we issue a purchase order and that holds our price.
Okay, so do we want to deal with that grader first before we move on to the other two?
Would be a good
Yeah.
idea, I guess.
Okay. So then we'll need a motion to increase the capital budget by 75,000. Councilor.
Yeah,
or
please.
Wick.
Please use the motions on page 73.
Yep.
Unfortunately, they didn't carry forward into the green page.
Make a motion that Lamont County Council amend the 2023 capital budget by $75,000 through an additional contribution from equipment replacement reserve. And that Lamont County Council direct administration to procure one new John Deere 772 GP motor grader from Brandt Tractor for a price not exceeding $675,000 for 2023.
Can we do these as separate motions here?
They should be separate.
They were.
Because,
that's
yeah,
what-
we're gonna get all confused here. So if you could finish the one off after the replacement reserve.
After replacement reserve, period.
Period.
My apologies, there should have been a space in there.
Council's okay with that?
Yep.
Yep.
Questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
It's carried. Hey, Councilor Naka, you want to put the next motion on the table?
Okay, I move that Lamont County Council direct administration to procure one new John Deere 772 GP motor grader from Brandt Tractor for a price not exceeding $675,000 in 2023.
Questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Yeah,
Aye.
It's carried 5-0.
I can do the next one.
Actually, no, we gotta refine the next one.
Yeah,
here.
it's a 163,000.
Correct.
Yes.
Actually, are we buying two cats?
No, one John Deere.
We're adjusting the budget first, Councillor Boyd, or.
Yeah, no,
Reeve
but
Boyd.
Dave is asking, what are we buying, a cat and a John Deere or two cats?
Because we're buying two cats, we gotta increase it by 26,000.
Yeah.
We should buy one of each.
One of
Yeah,
each.
one of each.
One of each.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, I got it adjusted here. So, Lamont County Council amend the 2024 capital budget by 163,000 through an additional contribution from equipment replacement reserve.
okay. Questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's carried
Aye.
5-0. Councilor Wawarwa, can I call on you to make the last motion there?
We gotta change
You
it.
have to change it though.
Okay,
Spinning.
thousand, do we wish?
600.
Okay, so if she gets it on the board, then I'll. Need to spend money this morning, eh? Who didn't want to do a drainage ditch for 600,000?
You could build a road for
You
$1
just-
million, 3/4 of a mile, and they want to clean a drainage by God.
You just bought 3 graders. You could have cleaned 3 ditches.
Yeah, no, that's, that price they come up $1 million is unreal.
These the graders have enduring value.
Yeah.
Yep.
Darby, just back to the other Lafarge. If Lafarge wanted to take that driveway out where that 16-inch culvert is, if they wanted to dig it out and leave it open, they could, right? Because it's their land.
Yes, they could remove it under the code of practice. They could pull it out. Yes.
They could just pull it out and leave the
Yeah.
road blocked.
I just thought, I
Yes.
remembered signing a check before.
Nobody's been using
We'll
that
go
road.
back.
Maybe they'll do that for us or allow us to do it. Allow us to do it. Okay, just stop talking. You buy them lunch and you sweeten them up.
Yeah.
We're spending your money, Rodney.
In 2024.
You be owed again, like if you dealing with that, LaFrance?
Is that your intention?
Young Brent with you? He was the one that was in there with us the whole time.
I've been mulching, sure.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we were right in there. Like,
Yeah.
And that's funny, like, it's too bad, because I know that David, he had the video, the pictures.
Do you need them
everything. I had to-
both
It's unfortunate.
in this motion? Wasn't one motion made already for the,
This is all good in one motion. Yeah.
Yeah.
pardon?
You've already augmented the budget, so now you're spending it.
Yeah,
We did the budget amounts. We did the John Deere grader. This is for the two.
Okay,
actually,
the Lamont County
oops,
Council
hang on,
direct
Dan,
administration to
Dan,
procure.
hang on. Arena, can you remove the plurals from motors and graders? Take the S out. Sorry, Dan.
We want one with two motors.
Okay, sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Okay, the Lamont County Council direct administration to procure one new John Deere 7720 GP motor grader from Brent and a red tractor for the price of $675,000. Is that supposed to be enough more? Keep going.
Yes,
All these graders are
In
joystick, right?
2024.
Okay. LED lights, we don't need Lascos on them there in either shop.
Keep
right?
going.
You have to finish it, yeah.
keep going.
In the 2024,
Keep going.
yeah, okay, I am just. And one Cat 150 all-wheel drive from Fenning at the price of 688,000 in 2024.
Hey, questions or concerns?
But aren't they supposed to be not more? That's what I'm trying to tell
We
you.
have the quote, so it's not gonna be more. The price is quoted in an RFP.
And they're gonna stand by that price provided we order it now.
Yep.
Good. Questions or concerns? Debate, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's carried 5-0. You guys want a 10-minute break before we move on to follow-up action list? So we'll recess at 10:19. Live, okay. All right, we'll reconvene at 10:33 a.m. And we'll move on to item 4.3 on the agenda, the follow-up action tracking list.
Mr. Reeve, we're on page 85 to 90 of the agenda. As is our practice, we provide council reporting on status on various resolutions that you've made and the actions that we need to undertake. Once again, you'll see a significant number of completes and a few in progresses. You might have been expecting to see LUB and MDP come back this time. We are just doing some checking to ensure that we've addressed a few things appropriately in there from a legislative perspective. You also might have been expecting to see the employment policies come back. I think we recognized that we needed to more directly address some of the definitions in each of the individual policies. When it was in one policy, it was easier to do that. So we're addressing a few of those things, but they are on their way back. We also have some administrative policies that council looked at in the fall, which you expect to see at the next meeting. So I think we're doing very well in terms of responding to the directives that you provide to us. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Rodney's not here. Where are the reserves policies at? Or he
yeah,
needs
that
more
one-
time on that one
That
also?
one will likely be here next meeting, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, was that another one where we needed to deal with some definitions, Debbie? I can't recall. Do you recall? I don't remember. Yeah, originally it was going to come to this meeting, but we just needed a little bit more time.
Okay, and there is a copy of the land use bylaw and the MDP plan in our mailboxes. Was there any?
We were asked to make 2 copies for each counselor, so that's what we did.
Okay.
There are no changes since first reading was provided.
On which one is there no changes?
On the land use
Is
bylaw,
the container thing changed in it?
it was changed at first reading, as I recall.
The only thing is,
Wait a sec.
no.
No, it was not changed at first
No,
reading.
it's not changed.
It will be changed at second reading, yeah.
And I think when we were at that last law seminar, was that Reynolds or Brownlee was the last one?
Yeah, it was Brownlee.
Brownlee.
Yeah.
Yeah, they indicated that if we really don't want something, that we should kind of highlight it. And what I'm thinking of is like intensive vertical grow operation or a bug farm or something along that line, right? Like that's the up and coming thing, right?
Those are exactly the items that
You're working on?
looking at to see whether we've adequately addressed that.
Okay. And the other aspect is the solar and wind farms. I think we want to make sure that we
Identify the.
We better cover ourselves because tomorrow there's another group coming snooping around, so.
well, if we're going to allow these things, we have to make sure that it's not going to be in the middle of the heartland or something, right? So.
Remind me when we're on camera, I'll fill you in.
The other one was Bitcoin facilities because of the noise pollution and stuff. So just, sorry, a little off topic here, but that's kind of.
That's okay. We'll get them next time. Which ones are?
No.
It's part-time.
Okay, any other discussion on the follow-up action?
Contract till end of the month.
You're good, Dan?
Yep.
Aaron, Neil, you're good on the follow-up action plan?
Yep.
If so, let's have a motion to accept it as information.
I move the Lamont County Council accept the updated follow-up action list as information.
Questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's carried. Okay, now I need a motion that we resolve the February 28th regular council meeting to a committee of the whole meeting. Councillor Wick,
Make a motion that Lamont County Council resolve to Lamont County Committee, 10:38 a.m.
questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's carried 5-0. And we'll move on to item number 5 under the committee of the whole. 5.1 greater warranty extensions. Peter?
So, Mr. Reeve, we had some discussion during the budget planning about addressing our greater acquisition and the associated warranties. We received some indications from one provider And unfortunately, that didn't serve us well in terms of an estimate that we provided to council for what it might cost. We have now pursued a formal quotation from them, and Mr. Dietz will provide some detail.
So I'm, as council's aware, we operate 11 motor graders. These vary in age and operating hours. 8 are regular patrol graders. 1 is a program grader, and then 2 spares. All but one of these graders was purchased with a 5-year, 7,500 hour warranty. 1 was purchased with a 7-year, 10,000 hour warranty. During the 2023 budget deliberations, council discussed the need to extend the warranties on existing graders from the 5-year to the 7-year. During the discussion, we had provided an expected cost of $12,000 per year per machine based on informal discussions with one of the dealers. As a result of the 2023 budget, it included $100,000 for warranty extensions for 4 graders that were still within the existing 5-year warranty period. As shown on attachment A, Lamont County's 11 graders range in age from 2015 up to 2022, with the operating hours as of October from approximately 9,200 hours to brand new. We've reached out to both Finning and Brandt, the 2 manufacturer sales representatives, for formal quotations to obtain warranty extensions. For Unit 1342, a 2018 John Deere 772, the extended warranty quote is $94,700 for a comprehensive warranty, or $73,500 for a powertrain and hydraulic warranty, both extending to 7-year, 10,000 hours. For Unit 1343 is a 2020 Caterpillar 150 all-wheel drive. Extended warranty quote is $27,150 for a 2-year, 2,000 hour powertrain and hydraulic warranty extension. Unit 1344 is an identical machine. Extended warranty quote is the same. Unit 1345 is a 2021 John Deere 872 GP. The extended warranty quote is $85,900 for a comprehensive warranty, or $66,100 for a powertrain and hydraulic, both extending to 7-year, 10,000 hours. As well, we did ask for 1346, which is the new 2022 John Deere 872 GP that was just delivered. The extended warranty quote was $58,000 for comprehensive and $44,600 for powertrain and hydraulic. As the only grader that has an active warranty that is set to expire in 2023, we're recommending that Unit 1342 be proceeded with the extension of the comprehensive warranty of $94,700, utilizing the funds set aside in 2023 budget. The remaining graders do not have their warranties extended today, as they remain under warranty for at least 2 additional years. However, the cost to extend the warranties will go up slightly as the hours used increases. Alternatively, council could decide to set aside additional funds to extend the warranties on the other 4 graders when council reviews the 2023 budget in April. These would work out to 2 Caterpillar graders for a total of $54,300 and 2 John Deeres for $143,900, which would result in an increase of the 2023 budget by $198,200.
Mr. Reeve, our bringing this in a committee of the whole setting was deliberate. You need not make a decision today, but we wanted to present you this information so that you could debate it and deliberate it, and let us know if there's anything you'd like us to bring back.
Council comments? Do we keep logs in each individual machine?
So we have equipment files for each piece of equipment. It tracks our repairs and maintenance.
So would we be able to go back to, say, the unit number 1336, which has 9,500 hours on it, and determine what it's cost us since the warranty expired on that machine?
We could.
Because I think at $12,000 for 2 years, extended warranty looked pretty feasible, right?
Oh, I think that's.
But it's not 12,000 anymore. It's like
Yeah.
For 1342, we'd be looking at 94,700.
For that one grader.
That's the one grader.
One changes everything, doesn't it?
That's a lot of repair.
So that's the one that has how many hours?
So that one,
6,500,
1342, that has 5,435 as of October, so it should be sitting around shy of 6,000 hours right now.
So you're for $9,400 or 7,300. You're extending it for 4 hours, 4,000 hours.
So the extension would go from the existing 5-year 7,500 to 7-year 10,000. So it'd be initial 2,500 hours
2 years,
for over 2 years. Yes.
so 45,000 a year.
Christ, that's very-
I think that oil leak on the John Deere is 47 grand now to fix. Well, $47,000 to fix it.
So just for council's information, one of the John Deere 872s that we're hoping to replace this year with one of the new machines, it's having issues right now. It's out of warranty and it's starting to cost us big dollars. Don't have that value off the top
How
of my
big dollars are they? That's,
we could be looking in the range of $30,000 for one repair.
Is that the grader that's been sitting there waiting to get fixed? Is that the
Yes. So that's the one that we've been parking, not trying to use, out of Andrew. We've done some small repairs on it, but the goal was to just repair what needs to be repaired and keep it running until we can get it replaced this year.
what is the repair? Is it that oil leak or is it a?
That one, I believe, is a transmission issue.
so that could be pretty costly.
It could be, yes.
That'll be 50
So,
grand.
In my experience, once a grader's out of warranty and you continue to utilize it for a year or two, your maintenance costs are going to go up drastically.
Okay, these two. You have here the alternate, two cast graders for 54,300.
Yes, the Caterpillar warranty extensions are powertrain and hydraulic only, but are significantly less per machine versus the John Deere warranty extensions.
Like how much more goes the outside of your powertrain and your transmission and your hydraulics? That's the costly part.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a if you've got an issue with the engine, you've got an issue with hydraulics, those are the major expenses.
Right.
If it's a minor electrical issue, that's something we can usually fix. If there's something major electrical, that might become a big ticket item, but those are very rare. It's typically the engine issues and transmission issues, hydraulic issues.
Or your hydraulic.
Yeah.
So the two John Deeres, if it was just the powertrain and hydraulics warranty, instead of 143,900, it would be 110,700. Just so that we're not all doing math.
Oh, 110.
110,700.
So again, what would they take off there for that reduction, Darby?
So if for unit 1345 and 1346, it'd be 110,700 instead of 143,900.
If we just went with powertrain and hydraulics.
Powertrain and hydraulics.
And for 1342, it would go from 94,700 to 73,500.
Years, it's 37,000 each,
But you know what?
probably.
With the transmission,
2 years, each one will have one item at least. Per year.
you would think something.
Well, knowing it's on warranty, when you go to sell it, it had warranty up until the last year, or whatever, you'll get more money at the auction too. Knowing that if there was something wrong, it would have been fixed in the last. Everything's a lot of money nowadays.
So, Mr. Reeve, these items would be funded from the equipment replacement reserve, I presume. Just to give you some contextual update, we have about a $900,000 revenue on the sale of the 2 scrapers, which is very much in line with what we expected. And we've got a couple of old graders being auctioned as well, if I'm not mistaken. Have we closed on a price on those yet?
So the equipment going to auction, the sale starts tomorrow through Friday.
Okay, so we've got some indications on the 2 graders that we have in the auction that the pricing is going to be quite reasonable. So we will be putting some money back in the equipment reserve.
Okay, so the buggies are sold?
We had a offer come in late last week for 900,000 for both.
With that's
yeah,
after commission.
Yeah, so the
And
original
I've accepted it.
Yeah, the original proposal was 950 less the commission fee. We countered to 900 all in, and they recountered 900 plus the spare tires, the used tires. So back this week, and hopefully by the end of next week, the scrapers will be out of our yard.
And that's what we expected.
So we listed them for combined was 1 million. If we would have taken them to auction and got $1 million less auction fees, we still would have got 900,000. Plus, we would have had to pay for the hauling.
Yeah, it's 900 grand clear, and they pick them up in the yard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So if you look at this, the Cat warranty is cheaper than the John Deere warranty. Right?
Yeah, so it really comes down to how each company runs their, Finning is a multinational public company, whereas Brandt is a privately owned company. So Brandt has to hold money, whereas Finning has the pockets. So it'd be very similar to why Brandt doesn't offer a guaranteed buyback, because they have to hold that money for 5 or 7 years, whereas Finning, they have the resources to come up with it.
So I guess where I'm going with that is you can afford to pay a little more for a Cat if you're gonna get a cheaper extended
You
warranty.
could.
Yeah, no, so Cat might be a better deal. Maybe we should have discussed this before we did the other one.
Well,
Well, all of those have the 7-year warranty in them,
Yeah.
incidentally.
that was all included in there, so.
The 7-year, but they extended.
Well, the ones that we agreed to purchase today,
Yeah.
they all have the 7-year warranty.
Yeah.
Okay, but down to aren't, oh, okay.
We're only extending to 75.
Yeah, okay.
So the one we really have, which one do we really have to worry about here?
The one we need to deal with this year is 1342, the first one listed on page 91. Its warranty is set to expire this year.
I should note that all we've quoted there is the comprehensive warranty. I imagine if we wanted to pursue the powertrain and hydraulics, we could, it might be a little less.
The powertrain and hydraulics on that one is 73,500.
Oh, okay. Oh, there it is. I apologize. My thumb was over it.
So you said that right now that unit would have about 6,000 hours, right?
It'd be around the 6,000 hour mark, yes.
But it's 5 years is expiring, so
Yes, so-
it's gonna come off of warranty under 75.
Yeah, so the warranty is 5-year or 7,500, whichever comes first.
So if we extend it for 2 years to 10,000 hours,
There would be no issues with us going over hours on it. Yeah.
that's
Okay,
basic.
that's
So
the
that's the
one.
main one we have to look at here today, I think, right?
Again, we brought this as a committee of the whole item. Our intent would be to bring that back at the next meeting, if that's where you want to go. I thought we would present you with the whole enchilada, just so that you saw what we were dealing with.
Well, personally, I think that the price on the 1343 and 1344 from CAT is pretty reasonable also. I'm not sure once you get to 1345 and 1346. I think maybe we buy ourselves some time, but maybe we should seriously consider 1342, 43, and 44 if we want to proceed with extended warranty.
I imagine we would be sending a very strong signal to John Deere if we extended warranty on those three, but not the other two.
Well, the reason I support the 1342 is it's only got 6,000 hours, so essentially we could be out of warranty pretty quick here. So to me, to pay comprehensive warranty, depending which way we go, to pay $94,000 for an extra 4,000 hours of warranty, or would it be 2,000 above the 6,000?
It would be 2,500 above the 7,500 that's
Okay.
existing. So it would take us through to 2025 and 10,000 hours.
That's on the
On 1342.
42, okay.
And that's the one that we're not using currently, or using as little as possible.
That one we,
Or what's the number?
no,
of that?
that's one that is not an issue right now. We have another one that's out of warranty that has issues.
Oh, okay.
And then I think just because of the price of the warranty on the cats, I don't think we go wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas if we don't take it today, who knows where the price will be next year when we
That's what
approach
I'm
it
just
again,
gonna
right?
bring that up. What they're asking for now, and it's very little, eh? For 54. You know that you have almost 6,000 hours. And every year you have no idea what, like you said, what the warranties are gonna,
You
the
know,
price of them.
you have no idea where your warranty cost is
Yeah,
gonna be.
yeah, yeah.
The other factor is you add in the 94,000 and the 54,000 for the two cats, you're at $148,000. You're covering the cost of repairs for the next extra 2,500 hours on three different machines, so that's $50,000 a machine, which
Cheap insurance.
I think so.
Apologies if I missed it. So is council thinking about just the powertrain and hydraulics or the comprehensive?
You know, I think the comprehensive, because that's what we have now, right?
Yes.
It's comprehensive.
Yes.
Now, that's the only thing with the cats, it's only powertrain and hydraulics.
Yes. So,
It's not a comprehensive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll likely bring a report that has one recommendation to deal with 1342, another one to deal with 43 and 44. And what I'm hearing is we leave the other two John Deeres alone for now. Is that where council is?
So, yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, so that would be John Deere, the 22, which is 1346. The extended warranty now would be 58,000.
If we do comprehensive.
No. The
Extended
extended
warranty.
warranty, 58,000 is,
Comprehensive, yeah.
And 44 for power.
46 if we do just powertrain and hydraulic.
oh, okay. Yeah, you don't know what the price is gonna be up to next year
But
or the year after.
if you use that as a scenario and you look at 1345 for 2021, they want 85,000 for the full comprehensive.
Yeah.
So if we don't renew 46 at 58,000, are they going to come back and want 85,000 next year?
Absolutely, because we're gonna,
That's exactly
Right.
we're gonna
what
have
it is.
more hours on it.
That's where I was coming.
So it sounds like Counselor Warwa thinks that we should move on those last two John Deeres.
Yes. That's my opinion.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah.
And is it the comprehensive or is it just the powertrain? Like the most expensive repair would be powertrain, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, and that's where I was wondering, same as like Mr. or do we have, can we get what our service has been since warranty or what,
For the record.
what has been serviced?
Yeah.
See if it's a powertrain hydraulic or if it's gonna be anything else comprehensive. I thought. Jump on it if it's powertrain.
We can definitely bring a report on, I mean,
The comprehensive
Yeah.
covers the pins, the John Deere's, they've been changing pins near the end of warranty, right? That's the comprehensive. Without that,
Yeah.
the pin job for 25 grand is our own.
Okay, so I'm getting the feeling that Committee of the Whole wants to recommend to Lamont County to look at extended warranty for all 5 machines, but to include a cost analysis of what,
What the costs were of repairing.
On the last two?
On the last two, because those are the ones that were
1336 to 1338 probably, right?
40.
Or do you want to look at existing? I was thinking of the 3 older units that are beyond their warranty period by up to 2,000 hours, right?
Yeah, because
understand where the council's going. What we can do is bring a report showing our repair costs for all of our graders, showing our expenses to repair those graders that are out of warranty, and pull a report from the dealers for what repairs have been done under warranty.
Sure, if you can do that, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah.
There should be some record when they did the warranty work. They would
Yeah,
have a,
Yeah,
right?
no, we can easily have them provide us a warranty list.
Yeah, they gave the warrant, they did that one grader 2 years ago, all the pins.
Yeah.
See what that bill come out to. So we know what it costs to do pins, yeah.
pins plus inflation.
Yeah, because I didn't realize as it gets older, the price of warranty
goes
goes
up.
up.
Yeah.
And that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting the
Kind of a
warranty
flat line,
extension to be
right?
a flat amount.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking at.
Sharif, we were kind of listening while you were thinking, and we got a potential motion to like,
I don't know if you know this, but what's the hourly rate for finning on John Deere when they come and do stuff that's not on warranty?
I do not know that off the top of my head.
Okay.
I would expect it would be very expensive. You know, they're bringing out a full service truck when they come, so
It's not 75.
it'd be in the range of 150 plus, I would assume.
I think it's
for
probably
How
two
much?
or over.
Over
How
200.
much did you say?
over 150 an hour.
Oh, yeah.
You know, farm equipment now is 175.
Plus.
So what a truck, it's still gonna be over 200 grand,
Yeah.
200 bucks. Yeah.
so Mr. Reeve, this sounded a little bit like what you were musing. Perhaps there's a counselor who wants to tweak that or.
Well, the only thing is, I thought Darby indicated he could get us repair records for all of them.
Oh, I'm sorry. I understood just for wants to.
Is that a lot of work, Darby, or?
No, our service records in-house are very good. It's just a matter of summarizing everything, and we can pull a report from each dealer to get their service records there.
Yeah, and I think we'd be more interested in 1336 or 1338 rather than the latter ones, right? Because those are the ones that are off of warranty.
1336 to 1340 are out of warranty.
Oh, you, not just the 5 that are in the report. You're talking about the
All
ones
of them.
that are attached.
Yep.
all graders on attachment A grader list.
Darby volunteered, so.
Dash grader list.
Why don't we change that to an RFD?
Sure. Instead of report.
Yep.
Just for decision. So, just to be clear, you want the total cost per grader, or do you want the detailed list of every repair and painful detail?
Each grader, I think.
Sorry?
Each grader. A total for each grader, I think.
Yeah. So providing repair costs instead of repair rates. And there's some significant repairs, they'll know what they were.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Council okay with that? Further discussion? Questions? If not, put the motion on the table. Aaron?
I'll make a motion that the committee of the whole direct administration to bring forward a request for decision to purchase an extended warranty on all 5 graders, providing repair costs on all graders listed in attachment A grader list.
Further questions, concerns? Discussion, debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
I'm in favor.
Aye.
It's carried. 5-0. 5.2, is Derek around, or we don't need Derek?
He said,
We've got Darby here.
We got Darby here. Okay,
So-
master road use agreement.
So Mr. Reed, in a recent meeting, it may have been a Public Works report, we indicated that we had been spending some time retooling our road use agreements, using one customer in particular as a sounding board to see some of the adjustments we could make. So we've got the draft here for your review and comment. I guess I mentioned also at the last meeting that notwithstanding the fact that we renewed all of the road use agreements on January 1st, we have the ability to provide notice and cancel them on a 30-day basis. Excuse me, in order to replace them with this new agreement.
So annually, we issue numerous road use agreements to third parties called licensees in the agreements that outlines the terms and conditions that the licensee must meet in order to use select roads designated by the county. The agreements are currently issued all at a set time to be renewed on an annual basis, typically January 1st of each year. In preparation of renewing the 2022 permits, one licensee requests the county review the agreement with a request to consider increasing the term of the agreement from 1 to 5 or 10 years, as well as removing the termination clause. The concerns brought up by the licensee are in regards to increasing the term length. They had concerns that due to the terms of the agreement being subject to an annual renewal, their operations may be at a disadvantage as their contracts are for multiple years. In regards to removing the termination clause, their concern is due to the nature of their business. They are concerned that the county would terminate the agreement early, limiting their ability to conduct business and ability to recover investments in the business. So we've taken the concerns brought forward and proceeded as follows. The licensee's 2022 road use agreement has been extended on a month-to-month basis under the existing terms and conditions until a new agreement is signed. We've updated the agreement template to clarify that the county will only consider terminating a road use agreement early if the licensee is in default of the terms and conditions of the agreement and has not taken steps to address the default in a timely manner. We've also updated the agreement template to clarify that if the licensee issues sufficient notice to the county prior to the expiry of the agreement and the licensee is not in default of the terms and conditions of the agreement, the county will issue a renewal of the agreement. We have concerns with issuing a multi-year agreement without ensuring that if the licensee becomes in default of their requirements as set out in the agreement, the county will not be able to properly address the concerns or terminate the agreement early, which could result in a litigation scenario with the licensee. As well, at the February 14th council meeting, the discussion of whether the county could terminate an agreement early or not, issue a term renewal if a licensee is in default of taxes or levies owed to the county was held. At the advice of legal representation, these scenarios are not addressed in the agreement and therefore may not be enforceable. However, they could be included in the agreement. If council is in agreement with this, it is a recommendation of the administration that the terms surrounding the renewal of agreement be subject to a licensee's account be in good standing in regards to taxes and or levies owed to the county.
One editorial on my part. I guess if we're dealing with somebody who's making significant investments in their business, that might be good rationale to have a longer term. If it's somebody who's here for a good time, not a long time, then probably no reason to do much more than a 1, maybe a 2-year agreement. So we have the latitude to do that.
But usually when they get a pit, they're a five-year project. Same with oil leases are 5 to 50 years, right?
I guess depending on what side of the fence you're on, those concerns are legitimate, I guess, right?
Yes, Mr. Reeve, we've tried to find a way to address them. So clearly we can't just up and cancel a road use agreement because we feel like there needs to be a real default and no attempt to remediate or to. Probably a very good reflection on council's goal number 6 and our commitment to genuine relationships. Who's going to invest in it if we can pull the carpet out from under them?
Well, and I believe this thing has a default clause, right?
Yes, so on page 101, number 11, there is a default clause. So if the county finds, is of the opinion the licensee's in default, we will issue them a notice. They have 10 days to rectify. Subsequent to that, section number 12, if the licensee fails or neglects to repair, then we have the right to perform, charge them the work plus a 15% administration charge.
Yeah, because if an oil company spends $1 million to drill a well, probably going to be around for a few years. Eh? Okay, I like that part where I'm not sure, like the recommendation of administration that the terms surrounding the renewal of a agreement be subject to a licensee account in good standing in regards to taxes and or levies owed to the county. I'm wondering if that shouldn't be part of your default clause.
Well, that would be an example of default, I imagine, if they don't pay. We can look more closely at that if you want.
But when I approached informally discussed this with a lawyer at Brownlee seminar and advised him what we were planning, he said, unless it's in your road use agreement. So I'd say you'd have to specifically indicate.
And when I brought that up with a representative from RMRF, that was the same thing they said, is if it's in the agreement, then it's enforceable. If it's not in the agreement, then that's not a reason they can be in
That's
default.
what I got.
So that last comment that Mr. Dietz reviewed is that it's not in the agreement yet, but
It will
if
be.
it's council's wish, we'll put it in.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like it's council's wish.
Yeah, I think it is. Okay, what's the cost of impact?
Do you have a,
Is there a definition for cost of impact?
do you have an article number or?
Page 6, 1B. Okay,
So that amount we can put in based on, it's a amount per kilometer, so it could vary depending on the type of road they're using.
And in 1A, it talks about being something that's a pre-estimate
So
based
one,
on their use, their weight, dust control requirements, et cetera.
yeah, so 1B, the licensee shall pay to the county the cost of impact in the amount of dollar, NA per kilometer. So that amount we can set. Right now, we hold a, I believe it's on
Lord, you hold the security of 50.
the security. So we hold a security of $15,000 per kilometer instead of having a cost of impact.
And we have an irrevocable letter of credit, or do we have bonds from some of the road use agreements?
That I'm not sure because right now enforcement has been handling all of that. I believe some of them are bonds, some might actually be checks.
So do we, when it comes up for renewal and they have a bond, do we
Then we-
ask for,
Then they have to supply a new bond, yes. If it's not, if it's a certified check, or if it's a check that we've cashed, then it's money in our account. If it's a term bond, then it's something that they would have to supply a new bond for the new year. And maybe instances where it's a non-expiring bond.
under 2 security aids says irrevocable letter of credit.
I know, but I'm sure we have bonds on some of them.
Yeah.
Again, that brings up another matter here. We got $15,000 per kilometer, and then after the brackets, we got $10,000 per kilometer. So
You're gonna have to fix that.
we might have to choose one or the other there.
Yep. And it should be 15,000.
That's gonna be 15?
15,000 per kilometer.
And then if they have to re-gravel a road, it's up to 375,000 tons. Doesn't necessarily have to be that amount, but it could be
No.
up to that amount.
Yeah, it'd be, so we have a couple of road licensees that use wider roads, so they have to gravel at a heavier amount. Some are using narrow roads, so it wouldn't require as much per mile.
Okay, there is a typographical error on page 9. Last word in 3K. Instead of aggregate levels, we should probably be referencing aggregate levies.
Not seeing it.
Very, very bottom of the paragraph, right before 4.
And then we cover non-payment of aggregate levies under that general default clause, I guess, right? Actually, maybe you should get a legal opinion of that should be a separate clause or if it should be part of a default clause. If it's a separate clause, it might bear more weight than being part of a default clause because then you're into proof that they're actually in default, right? Anybody else have any comments or questions?
It's 2 miles, about 48 grand, then. For every 2 miles, about 48 grand. To 15,000.
Yeah, probably 50,000. It's a little more than 3 kilometers, right?
3.2 to 15 grand, yeah, 40, yeah, just under 50.
Okay, so if we put a motion on the table for this, I'm not sure we just want to accept this as information.
Generally speaking, we'll respond to the comments that you've made and you'll see it up on an approval,
Okay, so you've been making notes. Good.
as we always do.
All right. Any other questions on the road use agreement, council? So is there any intent to change responsibility for administration of the road use agreements from the peace officer to public works?
Yes, so it was supposed to happen in 2022. Just unfortunately, it wasn't feasible at the time. So the plan going forward is that Public Works will take over the road use agreements in 2023.
Enforcement will remain with
Yes.
Yes.
peace officer, but administration will transfer.
That's the way it used to be. Was
Well,
Public
actually,
Works.
he had more involvement in the administration as well.
Yeah.
So does council want to make any specific motion or just accept this as information?
Just as information.
Information, then he wrote everything down.
Okay.
Or Peter said he did anyway.
I said I did.
Yeah.
Somebody want to proceed with a motion to accept his information? Right.
I move that committee of the whole accept the master use agreement report as information.
Questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0. Dan, you're in favor?
Yeah.
Good. All right, 5.3, policing priorities.
So, Mr. Reeve, we had the detachment commanders for the Fort Saskatchewan, Two Hills, and Vegreville RCMP detachments attend the January 10th meeting, at which time they presented their biannual report. They provided information update on crime statistics, staffing, policing report overviews. At that time, their various reports identified several priorities that they are undertaking. They did ask whether council had any strong feedback on directing those priorities. What we've done is we've summarized from the 3 reports the priorities that the detachments are undertaking, and they generally include road safety enhancement, property crime reduction, community relations and public engagement, and increased police visibility geared towards reducing traffic offenses, impaired driving, and distracted driving. So that's what they read back to you. There's an opportunity for council to provide your perspectives on other priorities that ought to be considered, or I guess at minimum to prioritize these into the ones which you believe are most important to least important. This is an activity where, you know, the RCMP visit and they you know, hear from you in terms of your priorities. Obviously, we are not able to direct them. However, they are interested in hearing your priorities. So if there is anything here that you believe is of a higher importance, we could capture that and communicate it to them in some appropriate way. Or if you just want to endorse this the way it is, then that may be helpful to them.
So is council okay with the list, or they want to add to the list? The only thing in regards to increased police visibility, I would almost want to include or put in rural areas. Because I think that that's the
important part. More
the important part is, like, let's drive down some country roads and stuff here and show that you're, and don't do it in a ghost car.
Yeah, light it up.
Do you believe that this order is correct in terms of an order of priority?
I'm good with it.
And two.
Anything gravely missing?
Personally, I would almost want to put crime property reduction on the top of the list.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, but I mean, if you move increase police visibility, you're gonna see less crime, then do the crime second.
Yep.
So do you want to go increase visibility as number one?
Well, you see more cops around, you're gonna try to stay away from that area.
Yeah, it says like you want to move the bottom one to the top,
Yeah,
but it's to, for impaired driving, distracted driving. Crime is more a problem than those on the gravel roads.
yeah.
Crime is number one thing that everybody's bitching about.
But I think what Councillor Wick is saying is if there's increased visibility, it should aid in the reduction of crime, right?
Yeah, but increased visibility for reduced crime, not just
Not
impaired
fair.
driving that first.
So more generally, okay.
Yeah.
But that one is its own increase of visibility, and then
Yeah.
we get more people robbed than we have impaired drivers, so.
Very good.
Yeah, I think for the most part, like the RCMP are doing a good job. And just for council's information, there is a couple town halls coming up here. One in Lamont, one in Chipman, and one in Bruderheim, I believe.
That's this
So
week.
That's
Lamont.
this coming week. So bear that in mind as far as your schedules are concerned. But it's how the criminal is processed after he's caught.
Yeah.
Like, but that's got nothing to do with the police, right? Like, they're doing their job. They're catching these guys and they're dealing with them, but it's the system that's failing us a little bit. So there's nothing else council wants to add to the list, I think.
I think one is on Thursday. I don't know if it's Lamont or where.
The second.
Trying to find it.
I can ask Mr. Zal to
Check it today.
provide that information for you.
Yeah.
Actually, if you could post it on the Facebook page. It's sponsored by the town, so not. That's okay, we can advertise for it. Okay, anything else in the policing priorities? No. If not, there's a recommended motion there. Somebody want to put the motion on the table? Councillor Wawa?
Yeah, the Lamont County Council, Lamont, moves that the committee of the whole administration to bring back the policing priority list to the next regular council meeting for approval as discussed.
Questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, those in favor? It's carried 5-0. 5.4 disposal of surplus assets, policy 7001.22.
So, Mr. Reeve, at the last council meeting, council expressed the desire that we make some adjustments to the disposal of surplus assets policy. Councillors were surprised at some of the equipment that was being disposed of. And what we've done is made some adjustments to the policy so that it more closely reflects your desires.
Made some adjustments, definitions, section, and the information technology definition. Find those two separate from each other, and then you have it shall provide prior to item. I'm hoping that meets.
What was the last for council approval, you said, or?
Yes, on page 1. There is responsibility shall provide council correction equipment prior to item.
That was the most important one, I think.
Okay, so what's on page 110, what's the red writing, is that changes, or what is that?
So on page 110, we've added definitions of equipment, which means any motorized construction. And we've added information technology assets. Software, facsimile equipment, mobile, other tech. Device capable of being data. So we under equipment we used to have construction. That is more.
Okay, and the top part of the trucks, that's not changing on the disposal of county-owned land, that paragraph? Where it has the 2 rock trucks and.
Where it says disposal of the county-owned land. 2,000 case for.
And Mr. Reeve, we should probably remove the 2 motor scrapers since they're no longer in our. And Darby, we also have we disposed of the case 4-wheel drive tractor? No, we have not. Okay. So prior to this coming for your approval, next time we'll remove the 2 motor scrapers. Good catch.
Is that 4-wheel drive going up for sale?
No, No, that's where I thought it was not, so.
So council's okay with the new definitions, the elimination of the scrapers, and that the CAO has to provide a report of all surplus equipment to council prior to
Yeah.
disposal.
Yep.
I think that's the most important one there.
Anything else? If not, look for a motion.
I can do that one. Committee of the whole direct administration to bring back policy 7001.22 disposal of assets to the next regular council meeting for approval as discussed.
Questions or concerns? Debate, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
It's carried, 5-0. Okay, item 5.5, joint use planning agreement with Elk Island Public Schools.
So Ms. McCann can stay in her position. So there is a requirement in the Municipal Government Act that each municipality have a agreement for joint use of facilities with school divisions. We've been approached by the Elk Island Public Schools, and attached is a draft agreement that we're intending to work with them.
We should have a meeting with them and see what we're getting for the money they're getting for school taxes from ratepayers here in the county.
So the joint use agreement speaks to the requirement of municipalities to provide locations for school construction in the future, and provides for use of school facilities by municipalities. I don't think that it's a conversation on what we get for the money. So why doesn't Ms. McCann walk us through the high points of this, and then we can discuss it.
So the legislation has changed that joint use planning agreements are now required between municipalities and school divisions. And as Mr. Chanowski alluded to, they also talk about the school sites, where school sites will be. They also talk about facilities. School divisions generally have schools that municipalities would use for programming, and then schools would also use the municipal facilities such as the rec centers, swimming pools, etc. So that's basically what the agreements are to address. So we have been approached by Elk Island Public School, and they have given us a draft agreement that I've gone through and made some changes, redlining things. And some of the key things that we should probably look at for the county is that community services such as FCSS and CALC are included as much as they can be to use the facilities for some of the programs that they provide. And yes, we will be meeting with Elk Island Public Schools in early March to discuss this agreement.
It should be noted that aside from County Center and Public Works, we don't really own any facilities.
We have one facility, the Ball Diamonds in St. Michael.
St. Michael, right.
However, we provide we provide financial help, or with our agreements to the recreation agreements, we do financially support the facilities in the urban locations.
Right.
And Lamont County FCSS provides the programming in the urbans as well. They provide the programming for the towns of Bruderheim and Lamont, Mundare, and the villages of Chipman and Andrew.
And the other factor on the location of school sites, very unlikely in the future that a school site would be located on county lands, more likely that they would be located in urban centers. However, I think there's also language that speaks to disposition of former school sites. So Well, as Ms. McCann indicated, this is a template agreement. Directionally, there's some comments in here of some adjustments required. I believe that we have a potential meeting on the 9th of March, just to start this dialogue.
Yeah, I got a question. Whenever the bus gets stuck, the turning around, we had a couple times to get the fire department there to help get the kids out of the bus. Sometimes the one in the back wheel, who pays for when the fire department gets called out? Who's paying for that? Are County Lamont paying for it, or is the school board paying to have the fire truck show up?
I have no idea, but I will find out from you from the chief.
Yeah, because there's a couple times they had one wheel in the ditch, and the fire department ambulances showed up just to get the kids out so they could pull the bus ahead.
So if we have no facilities in our municipality that Elk Island Public Schools owns, because that ball diamond would be a separate, I don't think Elk Island Schools owns that. I think that's probably in Lamont County.
We own it.
Yeah.
We own that facility, but this Elk Island Public facility from time to time for their students.
In St. Michael?
So where does the library come in, where basically county residents can use the library, county residents can use the gymnasiums and stuff? So how does that work into an agreement like this, where
That's part of the purpose of this agreement, is to iron out how that happens. And I don't think this is about ascribing fees. I think this is more an exercise in meeting a legislative requirement.
But does that not mean, or does it mean that we can, different organizations can use the gymnasium, can use the meeting rooms in the school? Would that come in?
You mean organizations that are not Lamont County? Don't know.
Well,
That would be something they would probably have to agree on their own, like say an organization. We're talking about Lamont County and like FCSS. That's our organization, not like say the Elks Club or something like that.
I'm going, for example, in Mandera, there was the Air Force, Air Cadets. We're using it one time, the gymnasium, but then all of a sudden they booted them out, eh?
They would have to make their own agreement or.
Okay. I just thought that would come through the county, but if not, that's fine.
I think administration has to have their meeting with Elk Island Public Schools and just kind of try and ascertain what exactly are we trying to accomplish here, right?
Yeah.
Like, if the school's not located on our property, you can't implement us with the town of Lamont looking after the two schools that are on their property, right? So I'm just not sure, like I can see if we had a school on our property, but because we have none.
Oh, we have, I think Mandera is on county property.
Okay.
Where does that jog there? Is it jog at the church, or what is it?
The church is in county property. The
So
park is in county property.
How about the SO? Does it not jump there? Because I know the school always was on county property.
Yeah, but I think just that the ESO comes into,
That little jog there?
jogs.
Yeah, because the school always was on county. I don't know if they changed it when they built the new school now or not.
I think if you look on the map here, from the rail tracks north, right to the
To the church?
Yeah, that's all asked by the town of Monday.
I think.
Colored by it.
So maybe I could just provide a little more context. I don't think it's a matter whether the school is on our property or not.
Or not.
The legislation is that the province requires that we have a relationship with the school division where our children go to school. Okay. Another part of this agreement has to do with providing for lands for schools when they're required. So there would be some kind of an ongoing conversation where they estimate that in 2027, we're going to need another school in Andrew. Obviously, that's not the case, but so that's another part of the conversation, which, you know, this agreement provides for. Whether we actually need that or not, this agreement should provide for how that conversation happens. Am I missing anything, Debbie? No? So obviously, any agreement that emerges from these conversations with Elk Island Public Schools will need to be brought to council for approval. So this is just an introduction to you that this is happening, and you've given us one question that we need to pursue, and that is whether or not organizations that are not Lamont County, but perhaps might be supported by Lamont County, have use of the school facilities. And I don't know whether that's subject to this agreement or not.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
We should have the school board and us meet together and discuss all this stuff, figure it out. There's other questions I got for them, so.
Yeah, at this point, I'm still at a. I'm not sure, and that's what I would want administration to find out when you talk to these people is what's involved here. Okay, any other questions or comments? So if you look at insurance coverage, parties here too shall at all times carry and continue to carry general liability insurance in the amount of not less than $5 million. Do we have to do that if our county residents are using it?
I think that's generally more. I think
Well, yeah, I would think so, because the arenas or whatever, if they use it for skating, yes.
We should have a meeting with the school board.
Yeah.
And us and discuss what they want and what we're doing.
Any other comments or questions? So is it council's desire to have them come to a allegation or whatever?
That or we go to them, right?
Fucking trustee or the board?
At one time, the chairman of the board, attendant, the attendant, I know I attended, when there several times. I was invited to their meetings, eh? But I think it's a little bit different now. What they're looking for, right?
I have an answer for Councillor Whitus's question about when fire services respond to a school bus in the ditch. We've only responded to an incident of that nature twice in the past 12 months. When services are provided, they receive a bill. One of the challenges is most of the time it's not them calling, it's the RCMP requesting us directly. A little more difficult for us to bill them in that instance.
So in other words, we pay for it ourselves.
I think it said when the school division or the bus operator calls us, we bill them. When the RCMP calls us, we might not be able to bill them.
So as far as you know, Debbie, we don't have any joint use agreements with Elk Island Public Schools now, and I don't see us having any.
No, no, I don't think there are any, but because it's legislated now, we have to have one and it can be very, very vague. It's just that we have to have an agreement. And we'll probably have to have them with Elk Island separate schools as well.
Okay, where's council going on this thing?
Can we leave it as information and then just have administration, if we could request a meeting for further discussion?
We can bring back what the conversation is about, and if it warrants a meeting or a delegation, certainly we can bring that back.
I think we should have a meeting with them anyway. There's a lot of stuff that's happening. The board, the superintendent and the director of transportation, we should have a meeting with. Few things to hack out. We're spending $1 million, the ratepayers spending $1 million. Better see what we're getting there.
Would that be related to the joint use planning agreement, or is that a separate issue that
I don't know.
it's outstanding?
$1 million that you're referring to, is that the school taxes?
School taxes, yeah.
Well, we don't govern that, but
That's
totally up to you.
the provincial.
Well, either way, our ratepayers are paying, whether they're in town or in the country. It doesn't matter what parcel of land you're paying it.
Okay. Accept his information. And I think that if there is an agenda or a need to have a meeting with Elk Island Public Schools, I think we should formulate that agenda beforehand and then proceed from there. But I think that if we need a meeting, we need a meeting, but I think that that's a separate matter for what we're looking at here. Okay, somebody want to make the recommended motion? Councillor Wick?
Make a motion that committee of whole accept the joint use planning agreements, JUPA, with Elk Island Public Schools, EIPS, as information.
questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
It's carried. Okay, I guess I need a motion to revert back to the regular.
We got 5.6.
Mr. Reeve, there were items added to the agenda.
That should be part of the regular council meeting, I think. I don't think those have to be in committee of the whole.
Very good.
Okay. Okay.
I move that the committee of the whole revert back to the February 28th, 2023 regular council meeting at 11:55 a.m.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's carried 5-0. Lunch here yet? Okay. Oh, okay. We'll move on to item 5.6, CAO policy. Neil, that one is yours.
Yeah, when we, couple meetings ago, when we asked who, there was a change in the org charts and there was a paragraph in the CEO bylaw that they, were able to, do something on the org chart without council approval. So there's a sentence in there we gotta change.
Can we get a copy of the CAO policy or bylaw?
It's a bylaw, yeah. So, Mr. Reeve, when the CAO bylaw was approved, it was with the benefit of a letter from Brownlee that provided some insights into the role of the CAO and the appropriateness of that language. Be happy to source that and bring that back if council wants to look at that again.
We were told the organizational chart is approved and set up by the council, and then there was a change on it.
Yeah.
Belongs to.
With that said, it belongs to council, and policies are written in council's.
Well, Mr. Reeve,
Language,
that's
so.
not what the legal opinion said. I'll be happy to bring it for you to look at. So
Pardon me, what was that, sorry?
that's not what that legal opinion said, but I'm happy to bring it so that you can look at it again and the decision is council.
Well, it's our org chart. The councilors set it up, so.
Would you like to make a motion that we bring that to the next meeting?
Yep. Bring it back to the next meeting so we can go over it. Maybe we could get a copy of it in our mailboxes so we can go over it before we get it.
Something like that, Lamont County Council direct administration to bring forward the CAO bylaw for review.
Yes. We can get a copy of it before.
Good.
Okay with that, Neil?
Yep, I can make that one.
Okay.
The Lamont County Council direct administration to bring forward the chief administrative officer bylaw for review.
Questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, all in favor?
Right.
Carried. Okay, we'll move on to item 5.7 of the agenda. That's the, just gonna check that legal description. Make sure I'm on the right page here. Northwest 275716. Okay. This property is in the midst of an estate, and the estate is in the process of attempting to sell this land. An offer to purchase has been made on this particular parcel of land, but when his legal representative did a title search, they found a caveat registered by Lamont County that dates back to, I believe, 1980. And maybe Mr. Mishniak can inform council, I guess, is the general gist of what the caveat says.
Yeah, just before Mr. Mishniak does that, so we received this from you, Mr. Reeve, in a letter. I think it was last Thursday. Mr. Mishniak, and upon his return from absence, Mr. Elenyak had an opportunity to review this yesterday morning, if I'm not mistaken. So go ahead, Ken.
So in 1943, the Sunland drainage flowed through this quarter section, the Northwest 27. It appears in the 1950s, Lamont County started to divert it away from that. I believe there were some drainage works in the area being undertaken in the 1980s in regards to this drainage channel. They appear to have blanketed a few parcels of land that it could potentially affect with caveats such as this if they had to do any drainage works in regards to the drainage channel. Currently, the Sunland drainage does not flow through this quarter section, and we have no drainage infrastructure that would require this caveat.
So I guess the purchaser's request is he would like Lamont County to discharge the caveat.
Were they gonna make another branch on the drainage there or something? Is that what they were doing, if they had it? Don't know.
We'd have to check with our fathers and.
No, I know, but
see
is
what the
there,
intent was
is there, is it a section that the caveat's on, or is it just on the whole quarter?
It's on the whole quarter section, and currently Sunland drainage flows along the road on the west side of the road on opposite of this quarter section, and proceeds to cross over the road to the quarter section to the left of this. I believe it's the southeast.
Oh yeah, typo. Wrong,
Okay.
wrong.
Councillor Knack is asked to be excused from this. Okay, from this discussion. I think it was registered Councillor White's back in the days of when Mr. Lusky was with the county here.
Yeah.
And I think that at some point they may have intended for the drainage to go through this quarter, but obviously it's went somewhere else, and that drainage is functioning quite well the way it's structured right now. So I guess between yourself and Terry, do you ever see a need
We
to
see
divert
no,
the drainage to this particular quarter section?
we see no need to divert the drainage. It would be a rather large expense now to divert the drainage into this quarter section.
And I guess the fear of the purchaser here is this caveat was written pretty restrictively, where all of a sudden he had to allow for right-of-way access. He had to kind of maintain the drainage, or sorry, the landowner had to maintain the drainage, allow right of access, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct.
And that's the part that's bothering the purchaser, is the fact that there may be a requirement if a drainage ever went through there for him to maintain it.
Correct. It was worded very broadly in favor of Lamont County at the time.
So, Mr. Reeve, if it's your wish, we have some suggested words unless there is another approach that council would like to take.
Ken, do you have a number for that caveat?
I do not off. I would have to pull it from the office.
Mr. Reeve, would you like for us to administratively include that caveat number in this motion after the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I believe there's probably some oil and pipeline caveats on this particular parcel also.
There are multiple caveats on this parcel.
Terry, is there something you want to add?
No, I was just going to allude back to Councillor Whitus's concern on if it was a portion of that quarter, but indeed, as Mr. Mishnick has said, it's the whole quarter. And when Sunland Drainage was being developed in the 80s, they did find out that tributary wasn't warranted. It flowed as Worship Reeve has made note as well.
So in your opinion, Terry and Ken, there's no issue with discharging this?
Correct. From my point of view and Mr. Mishnick's point of view, I think it would be in the county's best interest to remove the caveat off that parcel.
Council, any other questions? Yep. Dan?
So there's probably a word that we need to put just before the word caveat so that we're adequately describing it. Is it the Sunland caveat? The right
Caveat for the purposes of drainage work, I believe it was titled.
caveat for the purpose. And if you could put a blank in there administratively, we'll fill in the caveat number after the meeting. That's fair, isn't it? Okay, so caveat, and then you're putting at Northwest 27, etc.
5716.
Is that what you're saying? I can't read it. So maybe the for the purposes of drainage work should have stayed after the word caveat.
Correct.
Yeah.
Caveat. Okay. Very good.
I would like the number in there, so maybe we can just hold off on proceeding with this motion till kids can get us.
You mean after, till after lunch?
Yeah.
Okay. So, imagine is it just a matter of recessing, Debbie, or should it be tabled? Yeah.
We're closing down from action.
Yeah, the motion has been made on, it's not on the books, so we should be okay too. Yeah, I would prefer the caveat because then we're dealing with a specific number. Okay. Do we want to recess or do we want to go to 5-8?
Recess and,
Recess?
Oh, 5-8.
Burn Coat Pit. Okay, let's recess at 12:09. We will reconvene the regular council meeting of February 28th, 2023 at 1:04 p.m. And prior to recessing the meeting, we are dealing with agenda item 5.7. And that was in regards to the Northwest 275716 west of the 4th. I believe you're presented some documents with the caveat number there. Irina, okay. We can almost eliminate "at" out of there, right? No, certificate. I'm sorry. Go back to where you were.
Undo.
Okay. Are we authorizing staff or administration?
Same thing.
Same
If you
thing.
prefer administration, that's fine.
Doesn't matter. I guess as long as it's gonna. All right. Somebody wants to put that motion on the table?
The Lamont County Council authorized staff to discharge Lamont County caveat of 8021-62346. Northwest 2757-16 west of the 4th.
Any questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and Irina, you noted Councillor Anaka's absence. Yeah, good. Okay, we'll move on to item number 5.8, the Burnco pit. Neil, that was your addition.
Yeah, I've been getting calls late last fall and now through the winter from the people that own the land, the property where the Burnco pit is. We got County Lamont took over the Burnco pit for the remainder of the gravel and sand or whatever. We were supposed to be looking after the dirt piles and stuff around. There's 6-inch trees and stuff, and the last few years, we were supposed to take $10,000 a year of gravel out of there or sand, whatever's in there. And it hasn't been happening the last few years. And like I said, the trees are overtaking the piles and weeds and stuff. So maybe we can go out there in spring and see what we got for material, and we better getting some of the material out of there and using it up and getting these piles cleaned up so that when we go to reclaim. They said the trees are 6 to 7 inches round now. It's totally out of hand, that whole pit. I don't know what kind of products in there. I think it was a sandier.
What were we using that for?
There was some off-spec material that, because it had clay content in it, wasn't suitable for paving, and I think there is elimination with some clay content in it. I think when Gerald was here, he was using that to elevate some roads because it packed well underneath. I'm not sure what there is for off-spec crushed gravel, but I think there's some elimination there.
Maybe we could get Darby to go down there and see what we got for product, but wait till the snow is gone. Maybe get a hold of her and tell her we're gonna get on it, and at least she'll feel better. We can give you the name of. Just tell her we'll look into it, and then Cause the berms are supposed to be kept clean and stuff, and the trees are 7 inches tall and there's weeds and everything else, and we haven't taken anything out of there for 2 or 3 years. They wanted, for income tax purposes, 10 grand a year about, so. But I'm sure now they'd be happy just to get it cleaned out, so.
Wouldn't that be in our inventory if there are piles there?
Yeah, should be.
It was good packing material. Like I said, they were using it for grades and stuff, so maybe we can start using some of it up. I wouldn't waste money moving it. Just take it to the job site wherever you need it. If somebody give her a call and say you're gonna look into it, and at least she'll feel better.
We just want to accept his information
Yep.
and
Yep.
administration will take our comments under advisement here.
Yep.
Okay. A motion to accept his information?
The Lamont County accept burn coal gravel pit as information.
Questions or concerns? Debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's carried 5-0. Okay, let's move on to committee reports. Councillor Naka.
Nothing from me on the foundation. We had a Wellington seed cleaning plant last week. We went over some policy. We're working on our membership list, and we just had an update from our new manager from the seed plant on kind of what he sees coming up for this coming year for repairs and maintenance. And that's about it. Nothing from BHI. That's the only report I have.
Councillor Warwa.
I had, all I had was the library board, and I think you attended there. I couldn't make that one because I had a Northeast Water Commission meeting. And that's it. Yellowhead Highway Association has a central letter. I think we'll deal with it then. And nothing else.
Councillor Wick.
No committee reports at this time.
Councillor Waiters.
Nope, nothing in the last couple of weeks, no.
Okay, since the last council meeting, I had a calc meeting. My apologies to Councillor Wick. I met him in the parking lot one morning and I kind of felt after I spun my tires and left that I kind of brushed him off.
That was good.
But I drove into the parking lot at 5 to 10, walked into the building and realized that they changed the location of the meeting from Lamont to Andrews. So I think we made it to Andrew that day in less than half an hour. Excellent work that the calc team is doing. They have a excellent president and they're running some really good programs and doing an excellent job down there. So kudos to Colin and Tom and the department that you're running down there. I did attend that night, the Lamont County Library Board meeting. Unfortunately, only 3 board members showed up. Basically, what we had to do there is push the agenda back because with 3 people, you can't really make any major decisions. On the 16th, I attended the Brownlee Law Seminar with Councillor Naka and Councillor Wawarwa, and it was pretty timely. Prior to noon, they dealt with a lot of issues regarding the land use bylaw, and there was some good information in that part of it. The afternoon, they dealt with certain case laws, which wasn't as exciting, I don't think, as what the morning was, but it was a good seminar overall. I would probably definitely attend Brownlee's seminar again next year. On the 22nd, I attended the Alberta Chemistry and Plastics meeting at the Hotel McDonald in Edmonton. And basically, I was there as part of the Alberta Industrial Heartland, and we talked about the recycling of plastics and stuff. I did talk to an interesting person. I don't have his card, but I will present it to our ag department because it's regarding utilization of farm grain bags and silage bags and everything else. And one of the things that the operator said is we prefer not to accept dirty bags, but if we have to, we will accept them and deal with them and stuff. And this particular company that's located out of Bashaw recycles probably about 95% of all.
Great bags?
Yeah. Bring that forward at a Ag Service Board meeting. On the 23rd, I had a Lamont Healthcare Board meeting, and I think maybe at sometimes maybe our economic team or part of the administration team should attend one of our board meetings there just to kind of make sure that our healthcare centers potentially aware of what's happening down the road here, so that if we have to do any preparation or get ready or stuff like that, that we'll be ready for that. And on yesterday, I attended a hydrogen hub meeting at the City Hall in Edmonton. I was joined by Peter at that meeting. And essentially what we discussed is the status and the go forward for the hydrogen hub. The meeting was going okay. Towards the end, it kind of took a different slant, which I'm not sure that was the intent of the meeting, but I think what the hydrogen hub has to look at right now, the Alberta Industrial Heartland Board sits or is the leadership team. And I'm not sure that there is the commitment from the 5 mayors and Reeves sitting on that board that they should be sitting on that that leadership team. And I think that the hub is going to take a look at that and maybe get a different mix, or at least have people that are engaged in the promotion of hydrogen. So, like I say, at the end of the day, I think Peter had a very valid comment. We want to build the ecosystem for people to utilize hydrogen. But at the end of the day, Lamont County wants to build a hydrogen facility that's where our main interest lies. And today's a council meeting. So that's my last 2 weeks in a nutshell here. Anything else to add? One thing we did find out from Brownlee is, and I think that I passed a message along in regards to, they used a different term for it, but it's this intensive farming, like these vertical grow operations or these bug farms, which are kind of off the wall kind of a thing. The other thing that was mentioned was Bitcoin places because of the noise that these places make and stuff. So something to bear in mind, I guess, when we're looking at our land use bylaw going forward here. Anything else?
You covered it pretty good.
Good. Okay. I will accept the motion to accept committee reports as information. Right.
I move that Lamont County Council accept all committee reports as information.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's carried 5-0. Correspondence?
Yes, Mr. Reeve, there's a small number of correspondence items at this meeting. First one is the regular distribution from our MLA, Jackie Armstrong Homanyuk, speaking to the first anniversary of the Russian attack on Ukraine. Referencing a moment of silence, we participated with half-masting our flags and taking the opportunity to announce some additional supports that the province has made in terms of providing dollars to post-secondary institutions as well as expanding the eligibility for various designated trade programs for refugees. There's also an invitation to participate in a Abuses on the Rise in the Workplace seminar. This is dealing with abusive behavior towards public sector employees and elected officials, something that's being put on by our friend Ian McCormick, and the date of that item is on April 27th, 2023. There's also a call for resolutions by the Yellowhead Highway. What is it, an association? Yes, association. So obviously the Yellowhead Highway bisects the county on the southern edge. Councillor Warwa is the representative to that board, but I thought that this item could be more broadly shared with all of council. And the last item is the information from the Lamont County Housing Foundation. Formally, I think we received something informal from Councillor Anaka a couple weeks ago. This is the formal distribution that identifies the equalized assessment and the resulting requisition for Lamont County. And on the last page of the agenda, 171 of 171, you'll see that Lamont County's portion has grown from $506,000 to $718,000. I should note that the information that Councillor Anaka provided a few weeks ago informally indicated 716, so they clearly sharpened their pencil a little bit, unfortunately not in our favor. Looking at the agenda earlier in the week with the Reeve, he pointed out that the whole recognition for 2022 requisition for 2022 was 702,000. Now Lamont County's share is 718, so that's a substantial increase that that is a burden on Lamont County. This package, and I provided it in its entirety, shows the various assessment and requisition amounts for all of the various towns and villages and members of the Lamont County Housing Foundation. And that's all we've got, Mr. Reeve.
Any comments regarding the correspondence? Councillor Wawa, you indicated.
Yeah, I think I'll have to deal with Debbie on the resolution that I want to set forth for Highway 855 and Highway 16. On the stop sign that they have there. What I wanted to do was, so they would have it with the, I guess, flashing lights, solar flashing lights on the stop sign. I brought it forth at one of our meetings, and they asked me to bring it as a resolution this year. So I think I can sit down with you, Debbie, on that. Okay.
So would that be on 855 going north and south is where the
Highway
flashing lights
16,
would be, right?
there was a fatal collision there in January where a Saskatchewan couple were killed on that corner, and they never seen this. They never seen the stop sign, so they drove right through the intersection.
So the deadline for resolutions is April 5th, so
Yeah.
that'll have to be something we deal with at one of the next two meetings.
Yeah. Thank you.
Or you're gonna have to get that resolution approved by the Yellowhead Highway.
I bring it forth
So you bring it forth to that
For-
annual meeting. Okay.
for our annual meeting, and then it goes
Presumably you bring it here first
first year.
and then you take it there.
Yes.
Okay, and there's not much we can say about the Lamont Housing Foundation requisition other than, wow. When you consider that the requisition we're paying this year is more than what the
100,000.
entire requisition was last year.
Well, sad news, but it's getting to the point that the house, they're only using about 50% of the buildings, 50% of the buildings, so the writing's on the walls, they're not using it, you're gonna have to close something. It's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger.
Well,
It's-
that's why Andrew ended up closing, is
Yeah.
because they noted that Andrew was losing money, so part of the solution there was to shut Andrew down, right?
People are staying longer on their, at home or on the farms, whatever, and then, lately they've been coming into when they finally come in, they last 3, 4, 5 months and they get sicker and then they go to the nursing home or pass away. So they used to go in there in the 70s, now they're close to the 90s and we're only half full at all these places, so the writing's on the wall. They're not getting used. How long are you gonna keep throwing money at something not getting used?
Just a comment. I guess when they were doing their budgeting before, they budgeted occupancy in Mundare at 75%. And it's usually 50%. I think the new lodge in Lamont, they were budgeting at 90% occupancy. And it's about 75%. So they were budgeting, but the proceeds were always so much less than they budgeted for, and they're playing catch up with some of that. So I think this year they did budgeting with with more realistic occupancy rates.
Yeah, it's sad, but how long can you keep them open if they're not being used, right?
Well, the one that surprises me is the Lamont one. You know, you would think that there'd be a waiting list. A new building.
Well, I guess there was a late waiting list at the beginning. But then, like one example there, you have 3 residents pass away and 2 are moved to long-term care, and you lose 5 people within a week or 2, eh?
I guess something that I don't know if it's worthwhile pursuing to get changed, but to have this requisition population-based versus equalization assessment-based. Now, I believe it's the Municipal Government Act that says we have to calculate this on equalized assessment. So essentially, you would have to go to the province to get it calculated based on population. But the county's population is about half of, we make up half and the urbans make up the other half. So we could reduce our percentage from 72% down to around 50%. But then you're going to push that excess burden on the urbans. And I think that this would have to be a province-wide shift, because I'm pretty sure that it's mandated somewhere, that it's a provincial mandate, that it's based on equalized assessment, not on population. So, and if things turn out the way we want them to turn out, it's only going to get worse going down the road here. Any other comments? No. Prepared to accept for information? Roy?
I move that Lamont County Council accept all correspondence as information.
Questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I guess before we moved on to our closed session, I should acknowledge that Mr. Boyko was at the Brownlee Law Seminar. And one thing we missed, Councillor Warwa, we attended the Critters hockey game in Bruderheim.
Oh, yeah.
So, and Councillor Warwa was more receptive in regards to donations than I was. So that's all we're going to say right now. It was a good game.
Yeah.
A little bit of shenanigans went on there, but that's okay. At the end of the day, we had good entertainment. All right, let's move on to our closed session. And we have a Debbie, can we move into closed session for all of these sections? We can. Okay, so what's legal? Right, do you have a number for legal? Oh, you got them all in the motion. Perfect. Right on. Good girl.
Well, you'll know on,
All right. Somebody want to make the motion to put us in closed session?
it's good packing.
Aaron?
I make a motion that Lamont County Council move into closed session at 1:29 PM pursuant to Division 2, Section 16, 21, 23, and 24 for the Freedom of Information and Privacy Act.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So one of the motions we have to look at
To extend the meeting.
is the town of Lamont. And essentially to have administration,
It's the intermunicipal matter.
right?
The motion is entertain only the amendments. We didn't name the,
I'd like to know where my agenda disappeared to.
See if Tina will move it to Thursday morning. It is, it's only 2 things, half an hour.
Doesn't matter anything to me.
Roy, should we see if Tina can move that meeting to Thursday morning?
Yeah. I'm fine.
Half an hour. Yeah, we're here in noise. Then he can
Yeah.
go to the Heartland meeting on time, yeah.
all righty, Mr. Reed.
Okay, Councillor Wick, you want to make this motion?
Make a motion that Lamont County Council extend the meeting past 4 PM in accordance with Section 67, 856.22.
Thank you, Councillor Wick. All in favor?
Aye.
It's carried 5-0. Okay, so we're out of, we gotta get the public back on here.
Are we in public? We're not in public.
Okay. All right, so to deal with the intermunicipal matter, there's a recommended motion on your agendas. Councillor Nacker, you want to make that motion?
Yeah, where is that? I move that Lamont County Council entertain only the amendments to term and percent adjustments for recreation cost sharing agreements.
Thank you, Councillor Naka. Any questions or concerns? Debate, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's carried 5-0. And now I need a motion to accept the Industrial Heartland Report as information. Councillor Wick,
Make a motion that Lamont County Council accept Industrial Heartland.
questions or concerns? Debate, all in favor?
Aye.
It's carried 5-0. What are we doing with Neil's land matter?
Information.
Just accept it as information.
Accept his information?
Yeah.
Okay. Neil, you want to make a motion to accept your,
Take the land matter 562 and 203 as information.
questions or concerns? 8, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Do you want to do anything with yours? Because you really,
No.
I don't think we-
Well, they said they got the wood chipper close there, maybe they'll get at it.
Okay. We can adjourn at 4:06.